All right. Here we are. We're here and we're queer. What's up, dude?
What's up, Juan? How you been?
I've been good. It was coincidental that I put out the episode that we did on last month. And we're doing this stream today. That's just a coincidence. But yeah, dude, I've been good since we last spoke. Obviously, I called you up this morning because I was like, hey, some stuff's going down. Did the Illuminati send it or not? We don't know, but we're going to be talking about that today. But in all seriousness, we're going to be talking about conspiracies and all that good stuff. We're going to be joking around, but for real, let's be serious for 1 second. If you are in the evacuation zone or whatever, try your best to get out if you can. Okay, stay safe. This storm is nothing to joke about, even though we're going to try to have fun today. I don't want to be a doomer, gloomer, or anything like that, but just stay safe. Do what's best for yourself, for your family, and make the best logical choices, I guess you could say. So I just want to preface with that before we get into it, because I know, we like to have fun. We like to kid around because, you have to laugh to keep from crying. I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. Just stay safe, everyone, because this is going to be, I remember Charlie 20 years ago, dude. Were you? I'm sure you were in Florida. Where were you at?
Yeah, same place, Palm Beach County.
I remember Charlie really did a number on us here in Orlando. I'm gonna be in Orlando either way, but that was 20 years ago, dude. It feels like it was like the other day. I was 10 years old, I think. 20 years ago. Yeah, that's crazy how time flies. But here we are staring down this category 5 hurricane right now. Milton. Milton is a bitch. I just want to say that. And he's going to be making landfall on somewhere that you've talked about before, Longo, that has a protection spell around it. What's the lure behind Tampa never being directly hit? Because it hasn't been hit in over 100 years, or at least 100 years last time I had checked.
Yeah, there's a legend or local folklore, kind of a myth, that the Tampa Bay area, anywhere from as far south as Venice to as far north as Newport Richey, everywhere between there, the Tampa Bay area, all those cities kind of like to claim a Native American blessing over the area that protects it from hurricanes. So there's a lot of different stories as to why that is, where it originated. Most of them revolve around some kind of Pocahontas type scenario between a Indian princess or Indian medicine woman or something like that. But that's the gist of this belief that Tampa Bay, which is littered with all these Indian mounds, it's also especially high ground for the coastal parts of Florida. It's has a lot of elevation, which is unique. So there's a lot of Indian mounds, ceremonial complexes, pyramidal platform mounds, things like that. And they're all built over today, or kind of
Golf courses.
incorporated. Yeah, golf courses too. And people think that those still kind of emit this power. They emit this protection. Maybe that's what they were created for in the first place. So whether the blessing story's kind of been bastardized or not, there's kind of a lot to show for it. Like you said, the hurricanes tend to avoid Tampa Bay, but this one looks like it's barreling towards it. But it's an odd trajectory in general on this one.
Yeah, it hasn't budged much, and we've been watching it like a hawk. But a lot of the models are showing that. Again, I'm not a meteorologist, so don't take any of this. We're just I'm just a retard looking at this online. Okay, so go to a legitimate channel if you want to learn about this. We're going to be talking about just stuff surrounding Milton, and obviously, right, because we're here in Florida. But a lot of the models have it hitting directly into Tampa. Like this particular model is going directly through Tampa, and obviously all the models are going through Orlando as well, and it's all coming in through here. But again, it could go anywhere, and this is the scary part about these storms, that we know for a fact it's going to get hit hard, but we don't know how hard. They're saying it's going to go from a category 4 to a category 3 right before it hits. How we're just not going to be able to tell. But again, last time, I'm using Charlie as an example because this is the one that really, it came in through, I believe, Fort Myers and came up through here. And I think it went into category 3, if I'm not mistaken, and it went up through Orlando. And dude, we were without power for at least 2 weeks. I was out of school for at least 2 weeks. That so much so that we had to make up that time that we missed through summer.
Yeah.
And they also cut off the early release days, which is usually Wednesday. They had cut that off. So when I'm seeing this, that's why I'm telling everybody, like, stay safe, because this is some scary stuff, man.
Whatever, it'll be all right. People
says the
should
guy
stay
over.
safe.
Where are you at?
Yeah,
You all the
I'm
way
out
down
of the
here,
way.
bro. I don't even
Yeah.
see you, dude.
No, for real though, people should be safe. Don't do anything stupid. Don't pull any stunts till it's you know, cleared up for sure. But make
And this
sure
is
you're
what
not staying in some crappy place that's been built very recently that hasn't really stood the test of time, right? So be smart. Take accountability, right? Don't just think you're safe anywhere. But
And here's the thing with that, dude. Like, because I've heard some people say that too. Here we go, Milton. I've heard some people say that too. Oh, my house is 30 years old. It's already been through a bunch of well, I know people's houses that are 30 years old, and a couple hurricanes ago, a tornado just goes down the street and it blows their roofs off. So just because
yeah,
the foundation is 100 years old or 200 years old doesn't mean that that the structure hasn't been damaged before. And the
sure.
scary part about these storms is that they also bring tornadoes. So, and that me personally, I'd rather be in a hurricane than in a tornado. I don't know about you, bro.
Yeah, I've never been through a direct tornado hit or anything, but they're definitely more violent than a hurricane. Hurricane, if you're smart, you can really get out of it with your, you know. Whereas tornado, it's like that's like a bull shark coming right for you, right?
Just
Hurricane's slow moving. It's a matter of ego, you know. Am I gonna get out of the way, or am I gonna stay? And but
just
tornado
completely
comes ripping
destroyed,
out of
dude.
nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you got best of both worlds, but I'm hoping that everyone stays safe during this, and hopefully it settles down. It loses a lot of power, and it doesn't go in as deadly as they say it's going to go in, as strong as they say it's going to go in. But does the name of the legend that you were talking about have a name? Do you have any names for that? Like as far as what the tribe was or who the medicine woman was?
Yeah, I did a show on this a couple, like maybe 2 weeks ago, but basically the oldest one that you go back to, which is actually the most documented, would be when the Spanish, there was an expedition to Tampa Bay. So the whole story kicks off in Tampa Bay. And this was in like 1528 or so, around there. There was a big expedition into Florida. They got lost, separated from their ships, and for the most part, never heard from again. There was a handful of survivors, only a couple, like 4. One of those was Cabeza de Vaca. They made a movie out of it. And he's pretty much the first guy, him and his bros were the first couple of Europeans to explore the Gulf of the inland of the United States, around the Gulf of Mexico, over to the southwest. Then they kind of made it to safety in Mexico, where the Spanish had set up shop. But while they were missing, and
This
most of
guy?
them, yeah, that's, well, the picture, I think that's a picture of someone else, but yeah, it was the Narvaez expedition. So while they were missing, like 300 or so, 200, something like that, men went missing, and most of them starved or got washed up at sea. And while they were missing, someone sent another group of ships to go look for them. Well, they saw some stuff on shore at Tampa Bay that looked promising. They got lured onto shore by the Indians there. The Indians at Tampa Bay, they captured a handful of the Spaniards who were brave enough to go up onto shore. They get brought into the village. A couple of them get, executed like, very quickly. They put them through games like Apocalypto. You've seen Apocalypto when they make them run through the ball court and they use them for target practice with the arrows and atlatls, javelins. Well, they use him for target practice, and at the last second, he's about to get slaughtered. One of the Indian women steps in and saves kind of the main character of this story, who's Juan Ortiz. Juan Ortiz is one of those 4 dudes who went on shore to go look for the Narvaez expedition. And blah, blah, blah. Only one of them's left. The others get executed. He gets saved. Well, then they're going to execute him again, this time by burning, right? They're going to sacrifice him through fire. And they're building the barbecue, and they use the word barbecue. They build this wooden scaffolding. For real, it's like where the word barbecue comes from.
The first Wicker Man?
Yeah, well, almost, somewhat. And they throw him on the barbecue, and they start roasting him, and then the women step in again, particularly one woman, the legend goes. But this is a very well-documented story, because another wave of Spanish show up, and it turns out this Juan Ortiz, which is a very generic Spanish name, right?
Hey,
Juan.
come on, dude.
You've probably got a Juan Ortiz in your family, don't you?
That's why it's Juan on Juan. It's the
So very generic. This Juan Ortiz, he gets his story. Excuse me. So he gets rescued, but not after he gets. They try to execute him again. He escapes, and the princess helps him escape. So that's the original Pocahontas story. The DeSoto expedition shows up, rescues Juan Ortiz for good. He becomes their guide. He speaks the language. He was living with them for like 8 years. He's totally immersed. Went full native. Then the Spanish show up, bring him back. Well, that story gets written down, and it becomes a very popular story. It gets sent over to England, translated into English around 1601. And then, or maybe 1607, right? I think it was originally released in 1601. But then around 1607, a little later, it's translated into English. At the very same time that John Smith, right? Very generic, Agent Smith, he shows up with his account of his, glorious deeds in Jamestown. Well, in Jamestown, he wrote an earlier account where there was no mention of Pocahontas or any of the fancy stories he came up with later. Then he reads the story of Juan Ortiz. He was in the right place in the right time. He realized it wasn't getting, wasn't that popular in English. And he rewrote it to reflect English glory, in the New World. And he used these romantic tales, Spanish romance, and then made it English. Or he was a fake person altogether, but boom, there's your Pocahontas movie. So Pocahontas came out of John Smith plagiarizing that story from Tampa Bay. So you could look right off to Disney and you see Pocahontas. She's singing to nature. She's talking to the animals. She can, breathe with the wind, and she's all connected to nature. And that's all pretty much plagiarized from Tampa Bay. And they had, believe it or not, the guy who went through earlier, Cabeza de Vaca, he became a folk healer.
I saw that.
He brought Christianity into the New World. So the guy who came before Juan Ortiz, who kind of traced that path out before him, where he actually went way deeper into the US. He made it over to Mexico, like I said. He became a folk healer, a miracle worker, and he preached Jesus to entire nations of Native American heathens. And so many of the conquistadors, especially Cabeza de Vaca, were attributed like god-like abilities by the Florida Indians, the American Indians. When they would show up, there'd be good weather, and it's kind of written the other way around, where they brought the disease and the terrible, horror. But originally, when they showed up and they're first checking stuff out, Cabeza de Vaca is welcomed into all these cities. He's passed along town to town. That's how they made it out of slavery. They were enslaved by the natives. They were washed up in Texas, got enslaved. He becomes a miracle worker. And that's kind of one big piece of the legend, is that because of the good deeds done by Cabeza de Vaca, that the place he landed to start off, near Tampa Bay, was the most blessed point. Right, it's the spot that got the most blessings, you could say. So
That's interesting. So you're saying that they saw them almost as gods? Isn't that the story of like not Quetzalcoatl? What's the other guy?
yeah, that one's similar.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like they say it was a white dude or whatever, red hair, I think it usually is, and that they have all these powers. Because we've always been led to believe that they were afraid of them, right? They didn't even know what a ship looked like or something. Maybe to them they were coming in on UFOs, dude, right? I mean, when they first saw these ships landing and stuff. Of
Believe
course,
it
it
or
would
not,
land during good weather because hello, you're navigating.
yeah, there actually is. Ancient Aliens did kind of take one little excerpt out of Columbus's notebook and ran with it. They said that they saw a flicker, like a like a candle bobbing in the water almost, but it was on land, as if someone was holding up and down a candle,
Mhm.
or something, like tugging a candle on a rope. But Ancient Aliens really ran with that and said, oh, well, there's clear evidence of a UFO, that this is a UFO. So you could twist it and interpret it one way like that. But when they were showing up, there was something unexplainable happening. I'm a Christian. I'll be quick to point to Christianity and say, well, definitely was an upgrade from what they had going on. And actually, when the DeSoto expedition went through later, they found cities that had crosses strung up all around that hadn't been conquered. The Indians were living there. They'd heard of the good deeds done by these few wandering Christians, Cabeza de Vaca and the others, and they kind of went with what they were doing. And then there's other stories out of Newport Richey. There's a rock there that has the faces on it, carved into it. A lot of people say that's a sacrificial altar. Some people say that when the Indians renounced human sacrifice, that is when the blessing was kind of consummated over the land between the old people and the new inhabitants.
Is it this one here?
Yes, that one.
Timucuan.
Yeah. And we know they did sacrifice.
Yeah, we've covered them extensively here on your channel, especially too.
Yeah, that rock is crazy. And if you ever hear the Jekyll Island story about the altar at Jekyll Island, people are always like, well, show me the altar. So many people have watched that video, whether it's Robert Sepper's version or the original with, what's his name? I forget his name. The guy who gave the great Jekyll Island interview. Tim Bence.
Yes.
Tim Bence did one. Robert
It's
Sepper. So
it's
many people have done the. Yeah,
it's at a restaurant.
it is. I've been there. Yeah,
Widow Fletcher's restaurant.
yeah. I've hung out there, talked to the manager and stuff. But that story gets told, and it's such a great story. The Jekyll Island, Federal Reserve, Titanic, getting mixed in with this ancient Indian sacrificial system, the debt, right? Blood debt. That story is woven together so well when Tim Bence tells it. But a lot of people say, well, where's the evidence? Right? I think there's ample evidence of giants, which he talks about in there. But where's the altar? There's no altar at Jekyll Island. He claims to have deactivated the evil of that altar, right? When he went there and prayed. Well, there's no altar there. You can just see Rockefeller's house standing there. It's called Indian Mound Cottage, but you don't see the mound. You don't see an altar. So some
Mhm.
people are critical and say, well, where's the altar? Well, if we're, you know, if we've got a little bit of, if you really want to get to the bottom of it, just look at the other coast of Florida, where we have this altar that Juan pulled up right there. The one in, I think it's Newport Richey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two faces.
Yeah, and they say that that it was carved between 1 and 400 AD. Has two faces and is an effigy to local priest chiefs, perhaps sun and rain gods given human faces. A cavity indicates the rock was used for religious ceremonies at which food and other precious items were placed as offerings.
Yes.
So, and you brought up an interesting thing earlier when you meant right when I said the golf courses and right these mounds. Now,
Hmm.
you said that perhaps these mounds or the remains of these places underneath radiate a certain essence, if you will. We know that these people back then were very superstitious, were very religious in their own religions, right? If it was paganism or not, whatever. But is this perhaps why a lot of what I would consider the wealthy and the elite, and recently we had the whole Trump Mar-a-Lago attempt, right? But is
Hmm.
this why perhaps why a lot of these guys, okay, maybe they're playing the game, but there's something more to it because whenever you think of golf, you always think of a wealthy man's sport, and usually if you're wealthy, you're powerful. Do you
Yeah.
think that maybe they're drawn to it by something or some of them know about it?
Absolutely. John D. Rockefeller pioneered the art of retiring in general, not just retiring. He was kind of friends with Ford. Ford kind of pioneered is attributed with, he's credited with pioneering the work week, right? But
Yeah. Yeah, that's what
John D.
yeah.
Rockefeller kind of got his hands into people's calendar, daily schedule like that too, and he kind of mapped out their career path, career timing and pattern, and right, retiring at 65 is kind of the thing he pioneered. He was 65, and retirement was a thing before that, but in terms of selling your house and moving to Florida, he pioneered that. It was his business partner, Henry Flagler. Everyone knows about Rockefeller. Nobody knows about Flagler. He's the father of Florida. And they pioneered the art of retiring to Florida. Flagler was not much of a golfer, but Rockefeller loved to golf. Every single day, he was golfing at the end of his life. And his doctor even told him he couldn't golf for the last couple of years of his life, and he golfed anyway until he really had to stop, and he died not very long after. So, and he was very old, and he moved down to Florida for the sake of living forever. So, to your question, it's true. We were just looking at a Temecula stone
Mhm.
in the Jekyll Island video. It's mentioned that the Temecula were very tall. Well, they also
Check this
lived
out.
very. live very
It's
long.
8 feet long. So think about that, right? You're talking about them being perhaps giants. We see
Right.
the depictions. I forgot the name of the plate carving. You know which ones I'm talking about, where there's a substantial height difference, and it's 8 feet long. Perhaps was it again to lay them, and it could have been made right bigger for there to be room, but it's 8 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 4 feet high.
Yeah. It's perfect for laying someone across. And there's stories that come out of that exact spot and Jekyll Island about sacrificial altars. So there's the one at Jekyll Island's missing. It probably looked just like that one in Newport Richey, because the Israelites who the Temecula have been linked to, or sorry, the Canaanites who they've been linked to, they didn't use. They used a specific type of altar, right? It wasn't your step pyramid. It was something else. So this was probably closer to what was at Jekyll Island. But here we were talking about golfing. John D. Rockefeller popularized retiring to Florida and kind of just retiring to a better, warmer climate. Moving south is kind of the fad, right? Last
The
100
American
years,
dream. Yeah.
right? Yeah, moving to Florida, Arizona, something like that. But he was the first to do that, and really, he kind of mapped it out because he rearranged his life at 65, 66, just like Colonel Sanders, who we were talking about not too long ago, had a big life shift at 66. That's 33 times 2, but it's also, the number of the devil, you could say 66.
Ooh.
Well, they switch not career paths, but just a big shift in their life. But that's kind of what you see getting stamped as the retirement age in America. And he was very, very wealthy. Of course, perhaps the richest man in the world when he was alive. Maybe neck and neck with JP Morgan, who knows? But he would golf, and it's true that Florida was some of the first vast golf courses in America, big golf clubs and things like that. And all those were built, most of them were built on top of Indian burial mounds. We know that. It's printed in Palm Beach Island in a public park. It's all over Pompano. There's a whole golf course where they had to close one of the holes and seal it off and make it a public park to kind of keep the golf course going. But they discovered bones when they were digging on this, so they sealed it off, and you can go walk there today. I've got a video on that place. So all the golf courses, the vast majority, are built on these Indian burial mounds. Some of them have a good amount of elevation. Over at Jekyll Island, there's a golf course called Indian Mound Golf Course, just like John D. Rockefeller had his Indian Mound Cottage. Those are both facts. So something about golfing too is, this is a little bit out there, a little metaphysical, but when you golf back then, especially, they used metal spiked shoes. So not only are you trampling, trotting on
The graves.
remains of this ancient race, you're also, you could say, grounding
Mm.
into those vibes, right? If you want to get real metaphysical, and sucking up all that giant juice, that titanic, vril, that essence. And it's true. Golf, even in Scotland, that's a reality. And you can look. We've talked about golf being the only sport connected to the underworld, and how some of the mummies are holding golf clubs in
Ooh.
Egypt. So Scotland, where Freemasonry was founded, at nearly the same time, in the same period, the same people, big overlap, you have golf being invented. golf and Freemasonry come out of pretty much the same spot, almost the same period. And back there, that's how they used to bury their dead in ancient times too, is mounds, cairns, tumuli. But yeah, so it's all over the place.
Have we ever seen Biden golf?
I don't think he's coordinated enough for that, but maybe he does.
Okay, yeah. I mean, look at that swing there. Maybe in his younger days when he didn't have dementia, but he even looks lost on the course. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yikes. But I saw this podcast one time, and I think it was I fell for it because I think it was a story. I want to say it was a story or made up where they were talking about the occult origins of golf. And what they were hinting at is that golf itself is a sort of ritual in disguise. So how you were saying the origins of, the Masonic origins or whatever, yeah, they're playing a game, but in reality, it's actually a ceremony that they're doing, and it's shrouded in this, sport. Like, oh, look at them, they're just playing, and in reality, they're doing a ceremony in real time, and it's occulted, so it's hidden in plain sight. And it makes me think a lot about, even if you look at any sport, really, a lot of 33s, for example. I went to this facility that they track your statistics, right? So when you shoot a ball, it tells you the degrees and all that of like where your shot is, the curvature and all that, right? It's like this whole crazy thing. And to get a perfect shot, it was like 33 degrees at a certain angle, got you the correct shot every single time. And this is what these are the systems these guys are using to train to get the same consistent shot over and over again. If you look at baseball, I was watching baseball this weekend. It's like a diamond. It's Freemasonic in nature.
Yeah. Oh, dude, totally. You know what else I was thinking of today? I was watching the Vince McMahon
Documentary.
Netflix
Yeah.
documentary. That's good stuff. That's good TV, by the way. Everybody get a piece of that. It's entertaining. I've always kind of wondered, but I really connected the masonry to it. Why do they call it a ring when it's square shaped?
Square in the circle.
Bingo. And we know that WWE is really like the testing ground for a lot of these conspiracy theories. Like, will Americans, chant these terms if we give them, if we kind of just, feed them to them? And WWE is where you see that New World Order, right, theme coming out. You see the Twin
Yes.
Towers coming out. You see, I don't even know much about wrestling, but WWE is very, it's kind of like
Gay.
it's like the pilot. It's like the pilot episode for what might be coming in the future.
Oh, you think
But
so?
maybe, or they're just riding the wave. Hard to say. But the squaring the circle is not necessarily a Masonic concept. It's pretty integral to a lot of what goes into Masonry, but you could say it's alchemical, or
Yes.
it's numerological, Pythagorean magic. Maybe it goes all the way back. Who knows? But squaring the circle, we talked about a good amount in my fast food video, the Knights of the Golden Circle. Why is it that Wendy's uses square patties? Why is it that White Castle uses square patties? Why is it that who else? Whatever, Hardee's, is it? Hardee's? I forget.
Did you say White
One
Castle already?
Yeah, White Castle, Wendy's, and I think Hardee's. I think.
Let me
But
double check.
they use square patties. That sounds ridiculous, right? Well, no. A lot of those corporations were founded by Freemasons, and you don't hear me always blaming the Freemasons for everything. I actually don't hate them as much as most conspiracy theorists. But in this instance, you do have a flagrant Masonic conspiracy to push fast food, and it's not necessarily Masonic. It's the Southern brand of Masonry, which goes back to the Knights of the Golden Circle. So squaring the circle, the ring actually being a square, it points to that when I hear that.
And maybe because I don't think I've ever seen McDonald's, because we talked about on the episode that I put out today where a lot of people assume McDonald's is Masonic in nature, right? You would think right off the bat, but they don't. Maybe that's the sign that they are Mason. Or do you believe in the White Lodge versus the Black Lodge aspect of it, dude? That there is this White Brotherhood and Black Brotherhood in the background. They're fighting for power and they're doing all these things to cause chaos, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that maybe some of the restaurants are like, hey, eat this, you won't get chemically castrated. Eat this and you will. It's kind of like a demographic game where anyone who eats it could get damaged by it, but they're really targeting certain demographics with certain restaurants.
Yikes.
So we talked about that before, but
Yeah.
someone corrected me. It's a good point that I think it was Crystals that uses square patties, and Crystals spelled with a K for no reason. K, like so many of these brands. Krispy Kreme, KFC, KGC. Look for the K, people. Kmart, K this, K that. And then Crystal, why? We talked about this, right? This is such a good one. The wife of the founder was crystal gazing. She was using a
Rubbing them
crystal
balls. Yeah.
like a palantine, or what are they called? Shit, I should know that.
She was rubbing those balls, all right.
Palantar? Shit.
A what?
It's called something like that. Someone will correct me. Someone very smart in the comments.
Yes, please.
Palantir? No, that's not right.
Is that what? Palantir crystal ball? That's what I got here too. Is it something where you place it on
Palantir. Palantir. I said
That's interesting that one company's name Palantir, because that sounds familiar. The gay, I think he's gay, the CEO guy.
Well, the guy, it's funny you say that because Gandalf, who seizes a Palantir in Lord of the Rings, is also gay.
Really?
Illuminati confirmed.
Hold on, I got you, bro. Hold on. Wait, what?
Illuminati confirmed.
Hold on.
Yeah, Gandalf. No love. I mean, no hate. Full support. But yeah, K and 11. Yes, good point. KFC only uses 11 ingredients. Go watch the video me and Juan did. It's really good. But
what the?
So much of a rabbit hole there. But Gandalf, the Palantir, he saves one of the hobbits from messing with the Palantir. And Sauron was using one, right? But
that's interesting. Yeah, so there is speculation that Gandalf from Lord of the Rings is gay as a matter of speculation. But actor Ian McKellen, I think he passed away recently, didn't he? Who played Gandalf in the films, has said that Gandalf could be gay.
But the actor was.
The actor was?
Yeah.
What the? Okay, yeah, he did. I don't think he passed away. I think that's fake news. Let me double check. No, he is still alive. So that's fake news on my part.
Surprised he wasn't in Asheville.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he himself is gay. What an interesting rabbit hole that is. But yeah, the squaring of the circle. We have all this McNuggets, mind control that people are falling under when they're consuming these foods. I think is a very strong possibility. But speaking of the Illuminati and presenting problems to society and the world, we got a massive audience tonight, and I'm sure that they want to hear about the hurricane a little bit more and the conspiracies that have been running around on social media. It feels like every
Gandalf the
single
gay.
Gandalf the gay, and this.
We support nothing but support and an absolute acceptance. And Gandalf the black, Gandalf the trans. We support every and all forms of Gandalf, however Gandalf chooses to identify. Sorry.
I mean, look at
Interrupt.
this specimen right here. I mean, we gotta accept whatever comes our way because check this out right here. So the concept of the Illuminati or this cabal creating these storms, sending them over, and right, there's people advocating for and again, this is what I've seen on the internet. I'll be careful how I word this. There's people that are discussing destruction of certain sites that have satellites to detect weather and
Yeah.
things of this nature. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But what do you have to say about that? Because I've seen people break. What's the gematria saying, Dr. Longo, about these hurricanes? What's the astrological alignment? I know we have the Milton Lost Paradise connection. We have a few things we
Yeah.
want to talk about. Maybe decode this hurricane a little bit. And
Sure. Yeah. So just to catch up on the hurricane, we've got to talk about Helene to start off. Helene went very, very quickly from what? Tropical storm to category 4, like that. Right, the drop of a hat. Very quick, causing massive flooding. Asheville got hit hard. Chimney Rock. But who got especially hit hard? A little town that not many people know about called Spruce Pine. Spruce Pine. Juan, if you could please look that up. Spruce Pine is a little
North
town.
Carolina.
Yeah, I think only an hour away from Asheville, something like that. And there at Asheville, or sorry, Spruce Pine, it's world famous. Not very well known in America, but it's world famous for being the source of, I think it's quartz sand. Yeah, it's quartz for
Okay,
sure.
I see where you're going here.
Quartz for sure, but I don't know about the sand. Definitely quartz. The quartz from this one spot is very, very unique, and the whole world market depends on it for the production of semiconductors. From what I've read, right? I don't have any expertise in this, but from what I've read, and it's all over the internet, right? They can scrub as much as they can, but it's all over, right? This is all pretty flagrant. Do I think they steered a whole hurricane to this one spot? Maybe. Again, wouldn't put it past them. But we do know that the whole kind of semiconductor quartz microchip market is going to be strangled after this. And the roads to and from this place are pretty wiped out. And yeah, so this is pretty much the only source, substantial source of this one ingredient that the whole semiconductor, right, microchip industry relies on. But
Yeah,
that's Helene, and this place got hit hard, and they were putting it in the news almost like predictive programming. Like, who really cares about this? Never heard of it to begin with. Now everyone's like screaming it from the rooftops, and they're kind of scrubbing it from the internet. But this place got hit hard. It also happens to be that there's lithium deposits around here. Now that's getting scrubbed even harder off the internet. But apparently there's lithium deposits, or big, big reserves of lithium under there, something like that. So whether they're trying to squeeze the supply or just keep it from leaving that area, who knows?
It sounds a lot like the story of Haiti,
Why?
where because I've heard from locals, and I was friends with him, who his dad was a political figure in Haiti, and we know, right, the Clintons and all that stuff in Haiti, the corruption that's gone on in there, the earthquakes, and he told me that the reason why they don't ever let Haiti continue and develop is because there is a source of exotic minerals or something there. There's a gold mine of some sort, not of gold, but a gold mine of some sort there. And that if the people of Haiti were to be able to develop and extract that source, that they would become a major world power. Again,
Uh-huh.
this is a very long time ago that I heard from this guy, and this is coming from a guy whose dad was, I think, not the president, but near the president of Haiti or whatever they have. And he told me that that's the conspiracy, that they always hold them back. And there's always
Silverback.
something. What was that?
I said silverback.
Silverback was? Is that a joke?
It's the highest rank. It's the equivalent of president in Haiti.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
Don't mind me. Keep going.
Yes. Now, anyways, Longo, that's it. Sounds like that, because where else is this the same kind of quartz that we find off the coast of, what is it? Siesta? Is it Siesta Key?
Yes, good point. That's where I was going to go with that. Is now, so Helene, boom, rocketed towards North Carolina. All the flooding, all the devastation. RIP, of course. There's so much to talk about. There's all the rescues, the floods, all these harrowing stories, devastation, loss. It's horrific. But what's not really getting talked about is this, possible agenda behind it. And the thing that's really connecting the two together, if you're going to go with the weather modification narrative, if that's what you believe, you'd have to say, well, why these two areas? Why back to back? Well, what links them? Juan just hit it the nail on the head. It's quartz sand over there in North Carolina. Definitely quartz. I think it's quartz sand. Haven't been there, but I have been to Siesta Key, which is the only beach in the world that has over 99% white quartz beach sand.
Do they
Powdered
mine it
quartz.
though? Do they mine it?
No, that actually shows up there from the Appalachian Mountains. It's the
So they say.
same quartz. Yes, you're right. So they say that could be the quartz of Atlantis. That could be the burst crystal of Atlantis that Edgar Casey talks about. It could be the crystal that led to their downfall. Who knows? But Tampa Bay, I'm always talking about Atlantis in Tampa Bay, Garden of Eden in Florida, Fertile Crescent in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, guess what all ties that together? Milton is the name of this new hurricane, and it's barreling towards Siesta Key. Siesta Key has all the quartz sand. It's said that it came from the Appalachian Mountains, and it gets wiped out by hurricanes all the time. And this quartz sand deposits there naturally. So no matter how much you reshape kind of the coastline, this quartz sand is almost magnetically pulled there, and it deposits right there at Siesta Key, and a couple other beaches too around there. But Siesta Key is the purest, and that's like the #1 party beach in America. Had its
Dude,
own Jersey Shore show, and
yeah. Check this out. An estimated 70 to 90% of the crucibles used worldwide are made from spruce pine quartz, he said.
yeah,
So apparently it's a big deal. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. And that makes a lot of sense, because the first thing that I say when I see people breaking down the geometry of the hurricanes, and it aligns with the whatever, some stupid number or whatever it is, and the dates line up to 666 and all this bullshit. And I always ask, okay, but what for? Right? We act like we haven't had hurricanes for hundreds of years. right? There's been plenty of other strong hurricane. I mean, Andrew and all these other hurricanes that have hit before, Katrina. I mean, those are powerful storms. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned something earlier on the phone about this particular storm, and you said it was shot out of a cannon
Yeah,
of some sorts.
almost. It's taking a very horizontal trajectory. It looked like it almost came out of North Mexico. It's a little bit south now, but when they were first showing it, it's almost like it was coming down on a zip line across the Gulf of Mexico. And they projected it a lot faster than it is now. They said it was going to hit us by Wednesday. Now they're saying they don't know if it won't be a little later. But yeah, it's coming from a weird trajectory, weird angle. Just west to east is unusual. It's usually right, east to west or south to north. But this one's kind of going west to east and south to north. So it's unusual, but the way that they're showing it going towards Siesta Key, it's probably going to go somewhere towards Tampa Bay. Maybe those Indian mounds will push it away a little bit. But regardless, the quartz is what's tying it together. I wonder if there's anything else that goes into it. And by the way, Juan, you were talking about quartz in Haiti. I don't
No,
know if
not quartz. He said valuable minerals, so I don't know if
yes.
it's
Well, here,
gold, oil,
good
what it could be.
good point. I haven't heard much about quartz from Haiti. I haven't even heard much about gold. Maybe there is. Maybe I just haven't heard of it. But I've heard of iridium. Iridium
Mm,
in Haiti.
look at that beast.
Let me look it up.
Again, that's just what it's reminding me of that because since this is news to me, now you're saying, could it
Yeah,
be
look it up.
that? Could it be that that this quartz attracts these storms in some sort of way? How you're saying magnetically pulling it in? Did Atlantis experience hurricanes? Is there any literature on that?
I don't know, but hurricanes are either attributed to Poseidon, right? Neptune, if they're coming off the sea, if you experience them in the sea. But if it's more of a lightning thunderstorm, you'd attribute that to Thor or Jupiter, who would be Zeus back then. But
Haiti
yeah,
has the
it's
world's.
hard to say. Atlantis was, some people say it was a tidal wave, tsunami. There's good evidence to show that if you think Atlantis was in the Gulf of Mexico, which a lot of people did, I
Mhm.
think it was centered in Tampa Bay. Bimini is another, hotspot for Atlantis, according to Edgar Casey. That's their kind of uh, central location for Atlantis, the central hall of records for Atlantis. The Yucatan was a little bit of it, but I think the Gulf of Mexico was the sweet spot, the breadbasket. And, well, just so happens that the Chicxulub crater, how do you say that? Chicxulub? Shalub?
Cthulhu. I like to call it Cthulhu crater.
Right, the Cthulhu crater. The Chick-fil-A Club, Chick-fil-A rewards, Chick-fil-A premium.
This is the one that
Chicks
took the
Club.
dinosaurs out too, right? Do you believe in dinosaurs
Exactly.
long ago, or did you let that go a long time ago?
Yeah, I haven't been a dinosaur person in a long time. You can go to certain museums in Florida where it says there has never been a single dinosaur bone found in the state of Florida.
Oh,
Ever.
dude, hold on. This is
It's
this
true.
is where Milton is going through right now. The Yucatan Peninsula right now, and look
Yeah,
at where the
it's
crater is.
getting a little bit of that asteroid juice.
That Chicxulub juice.
A little bit of
Look,
that
CC
Chick-fil-A sauce.
33, bro.
Little,
CC 33.
Illuminati confirmed.
This
little
crater.
bit of a little bit of that Chick-fil-A club sandwich sauce on there, smacking around. God damn. It's heading right for Tampa, which is the headquarters of Checkers.
Is it really?
It's the headquarters of Checkers. Tampa Bay is also the headquarters of the Shriners. Did you know that? The
No, I didn't.
ancient Arabic order of the Mystic Shrine, something like that. Yeah, the
Hold on, dude.
Shriners. Look it up.
Let's slow down. Hold on.
That's
Let's slow down a little bit.
Chick-fil-A sauce. Shriners.
All right, so we got the Chicxulub
Bigfoot.
crater, and our boy Milton is crossing that right. It's right there right now, dude. Right in that crater, taking up all those dinosaur bones or whatever it is from the bottom there. And you said that Tampa Bay is the center for what? Can you say that again slower?
Tampa Bay
Headquarters
is
for what?
the headquarters for the Shriners or the Shrine Masons, which is kind of a.
Oh my God.
It's a adjacent to the Masons. It's part of the Masons, I guess you could say. I don't know. I haven't been in there, but you have to be a master Mason to become a Shriner, typically. So,
Does that mean you take it in the butt when you're a master mason?
well, pretty much. At the very least, they're doing group lap dances and
Yeah.
slight boner work. You know what I mean? Light boner magic.
Yeah, definitely.
That's at the very least.
Wow, so it really is the headquarters. Check this place out.
Oh, and Scientology. Good point. Thank you, commenter. Scientology's headquartered over there in Clearwater. So that really is like the headquarters of Atlantis, right there by.
Oh, dinosaurs are Jewish, apparently, is what they're saying there. Chat's going crazy.
Shell, yeah. 700 in the chat. Love you, peeps. Thanks for being here. Everyone stay safe. For real.
Yeah,
Very
that's
grateful for all you guys. Everyone, we're gonna do a moment of silence for the
gay Shriners.
October 7th Israeli helicopter attack.
What?
Just kidding.
All right. Well, we can do a moment of silence for the gay Shriners that are about to get pounded by Milton. So.
Yeah, oh, Milton here. Good point. Milton, my brother pointed out before we went live that Milton, he said the most famous person with the name Milton is John Milton. He said that's
another Juan.
That's what comes to his mind, something like that. And he said, Paradise Lost, right? This hurricane is barreling towards paradise. In my, according to my beliefs, that's paradise, and a lot of other people, thousands of people. Florida, the Gulf of Mexico is paradise, and Milton barreling towards paradise. So who knows? Maybe there's something to that. But I know there's a hurricane name list too, which goes back to Helene being mirrored 66 years ago. There was another Helene. You know about this one?
Yeah, I do. I saw that.
It's true. Also, there was a hurricane in 1928 that killed like 4,000 people.
In
Florida? It wasn't even the dead. I don't know if all those deaths were in Florida, but yeah, it killed a ton of people in Florida.
Okeechobee hurricane?
Yeah, that one.
So what's interesting about this, because during the founding of Florida, where you had Flagler, and I can't imagine, dude, back then, they didn't have the technology that they had now, being able to predict these storms, being able to look how tight this eye is, dude. Yeah. Being able to being able to predict these storms, where they're going, right? All these models and everything. Can you imagine in 1920 just hanging out with your family and friends outside, chilling, having a moonshine or something like that? Hey, look, there looks like some clouds are rolling. We're gonna get some afternoon showers. and it turns out to be a really, really deadly hurricane, and you have no idea, and you just lose everything that you've ever known and loved. And one of the stories that I forgot which hurricane it was, I'll look it up here. When Flagler was doing the railroad to Key West, right? A storm came in, and a lot of the workers, to get away from the storm, actually tied their boats up and stayed in the boats, bro.
Yeah.
It's safe to say that they didn't make it, but a lot of people died. That a lot of the workers had died that way. I'll pull up the story, but it's crazy. But yeah, this is the Okeechobee hurricane of 1928, also known as San Felipe II hurricane. Was one of the deadliest hurricanes in the recorded history of the North Atlantic Basin, and the fourth deadliest hurricane in the United States, only behind the 1900 Galveston hurricane, 1899 San Ciriaco hurricane. Where the hell is that at? Oh, in Puerto Rico. Okay. And Hurricane Maria. Like, oh, Hurricane Maria killed 3,000 people? Whoa. So this hurricane killed an estimated 2,500 people in the States. Most of the fatalities occurred in the state of Florida, particularly in Lake Okeechobee. It was in Lake Okeechobee. If you've ever been on Lake Okeechobee is an ocean. I mean, you can't see the other side, dude. It's a massive lake. And it feels like the waves out there, it feels like you're on the ocean.
Yeah.
So it was the fourth tropical cyclone, third hurricane, the only major hurricane of the 1928 Atlantic hurricane season. Remains the deadliest. What category was it? Got to 929 millibars. So that's what category? Oh, category 5. Yikes. That's wild, dude. I hadn't heard about this one. But yeah, this was a 1920 category 5. Do you think that the Illuminati or Atlantis sent it from Africa over here to the people over here in Florida in 1928, dude? Was that HARP that did that in 1928?
No, it's hard to say. I think that God is the author of Mother Nature, primarily. Now, they can do their best to direct stuff like this, and they can probably generate them out of the blue now, today. But 100 years ago, you'd be talking about something closer to voodoo or like weather magic rather than
By the way,
device.
Longo,
I could be
real
wrong.
quick.
I could be wrong. The Nazis
Real quick.
might have had weather stuff. Yeah.
Micmac's talking shit in the chat. At Juan, change the battery in your smoke alarm. It's not mine, dude. Talk to your boy. Here.
What's the smoke alarm? There's no smoke
It's
alarm.
It's beeping, bro.
There
it goes.
You heard it?
I think so.
No, I can't even hear it. There is a unit on top of us.
There you go.
That
right there. Boom.
That has Jesus. Well, whatever.
Chirp, chirp.
It's not me.
So
we was Kangs, man. That's a ceiling. That's a ceiling bird. Man, that's a ceiling bird. That's how you know it's working, bro.
It's sent by the CIA. That's how you know it's working. It's just to remind you that it's still on.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry to cut you off, Longo. Yeah, but
I don't hear it.
So, you're talking about the emulation, right? So you believe God controls. I believe that too, right? Mother Nature does a lot of crazy things. There's plenty of things that we haven't discovered in nature, animals that we haven't discovered, the bottom of the oceans that we haven't explored. And it's like you mentioned voodoo. Do you believe in the curse that talks about this being a route of these ships, and that's why they send over these storms over this way, just over and over again?
Man, I mean, I can't give any expert opinion on that or anything, but I can give just anecdotally. I've heard stories from non-magical, non-metaphysical people, just normies. I've heard stories from normies about their grandmas. I've heard this from 2 separate people about a spot where it doesn't rain. Oh yeah, like a story like this. Oh yeah, my grandma, she used to do, folk magic, Caribbean folk magic or whatever. And in her neighborhood, this is not me, this would be whoever, this would be, one of these two people who told me similar stories, that they know of a grandma, either their grandma or a friend's, who's done like magic like that, like voodoo type stuff. And it'll be raining, pouring rain in their neighborhood. I haven't seen this, it's only been told to me. But grandma's house won't have a drop of rain on it. That the whole neighborhood will be getting dumped, poured on. But there's like a wall, like a window, a force field, like a magical force field that doesn't let the rain hit. So I've heard two stories like that about voodoo controlling the weather, like real weather manipulation, something like that. Whether that works the other way, generating a storm out of nowhere. Sure, I believe in it. I believe in it. Working here, and flipping through enough of these books and having a familiarity with ceremonial magic and just a little bit of this. Oh, it's real. It's real. Doesn't matter if you believe in it. People who know what they're doing with it believe in it. But
There's a Scientology. Somebody said Cloudbuster, where we
yeah,
have
it's the same thing. It's just like another format, right?
one of the things that a story similar to that, which involves Scientology actually, and L. Ron Hubbard. There was stories of Jack Parsons that he was actually doing a lot of voodoo, allegedly.
Yeah.
And whenever he would do these things, the weather outside the parsonage where he was staying, right, this party house that they had, essentially, what the weather outside would change, and sometimes it would storm. And there is an interesting account of him, and I believe it was in Florida, in Miami, after L. Ron Hubbard had taken his first wife, Jack Parsons' first wife, and took off in one of his boats, one of the yachts that he had bought and funded. I think that Parsons summoned either Mars or some god to cause a storm in the Atlantic and bring them back ashore.
Right.
And that was off the coast of Miami. And allegedly they came back because of this.
Yeah, my brother loves
Storm.
to tell that. My brother loves to tell that story about the boat chase, and yeah, probably would have been Neptune. I'm not super familiar with the story, but if it were me, I would have invoked Neptune. Maybe that's too obvious. Maybe Mars is more of a malicious act, but yeah, that's true, and it all goes back to also. This is a good time. Maybe we could talk about adder stones. I'm gonna do a video on this soon. You ever heard of an adder stone?
How do you spell that?
Or ADDER, or a hag stone? Well, Aleister Crowley, interestingly, he wrote about the breakers at Palm Beach in one of his books.
Really?
And he had family in Titusville. Aleister Crowley had family in Titusville that he visited one time. So he came to Florida and he stayed in Titusville. And he probably went down as far as Palm Beach one time, or he was just familiar with, the prestige, the reputation. But yeah, he stayed in Titusville, and it just so happens that area is littered with Saxor stones. So on my channel, we talk about Saxor stones all the time. These big, ancient, megalithic ship anchors. But also on Florida beaches, you find the smaller versions. It's pretty much the same thing, but tiny. Some of them were canoe anchors, but others are too small, and some just naturally form like that. Regardless of how they form, they could get used. People use with what's around. But so these are all over Florida. Well, in the British Isles, where Aleister Crowley's from, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. Yeah, you already found it.
This is
Aleister
wild.
Crowley is associated with Saxor stones. And I only found this out recently, a couple days ago, because adder stones is what links the two, the hag stones. There are so many of these around Tampa Bay. That's why I and we believe that Tampa Bay was the headquarters, capital seaport of Atlantis, because it's got the most and the largest ancient ship anchors. Well, the smaller ones, the smaller and smaller ones, like net anchors, canoe anchors, and smaller, when they are rediscovered, even by ancient people, they would wear them as ornaments. All the Druids were known to wear a necklace with a hag stone. That was a mini Saxor stone, a mini adder stone. We call them Saxor stones in Florida. They call them hag stones in Britain, in Ireland, in Germany, in the Mediterranean. But they were sacred to the Druids, for which reason they're associated with Aleister Crowley. And yeah, why don't you read that little snippet there on Wikipedia about Aleister Crowley? And just so happens where his family moved to in Melbourne has a ton of hag stones, a ton of Saxor stones. And that is, if you want to link Jack Parsons and Scientology to the rocket program, L. Ron Hubbard, Crowley, the rocket program, well, you've got to talk about how he had family that lived right next to the launch pad, practically. And there's Saxor stones and adder stones all over.
Yeah, I've never heard about this, dude. So in Britain, they're also called hag stones, witch stones, serpent's eggs, snake's eggs, or glain nadir in Wales, and it has other names. And some that they were various traditions exist as to the origins of adder stones. One holds that the stones are the hardened saliva of large numbers of serpents massing together, the perforations being caused by their tongues.
Python
Huh.
jizz.
Yeah, python. Is that a thing?
No, I'm just kidding. But they
Oh.
say it's the slime from coiled up snakes that are like pretty much orgying.
And that's right. The serpents, right? The druids were,
Yep.
and that's the whole
There's
St. Patrick's Day thing where they exterminated the serpents.
Yep, and the Irish are very seafaring people, and these are sea anchors, or the small ones would be used as like amulets, and the Druids wore them. And there's varying legends on what they have to do with serpents, but you're right, with Druids getting kicked out, the serpents getting kicked out by St. Patrick. Well, the Saxor stones and the adder stones have holes punched through them. They thought maybe that a snake had bored a hole through them, kind of like a worm through an apple, right? And that this was the work of a serpent, or that the whole stone itself. Sometimes they say that they were glassy, almost like gem-like.
Yeah.
You find that in some of the Saxor stones too, because limestone is very close to like calcite, which is so many minerals like quartz are, essentially like calcite, and blah blah blah. So the Druid link, but yeah, can you read that?
Yeah.
That piece off
So
Wikipedia?
and they have Welsh mythology, Russian mythology, and an English folklore. In the seaside town Hastings, there is a local legend that the town is under an enchantment known as Crowley's Curse, said to have been conjured by Aleister Crowley, who lived in Hastings at the end of his life. The curse compels anyone who has lived in Hastings to always return, no matter how far away they move or for how long. The curse can only be broken by taking a stone with a hole running through it from Hastings Beach. Do you fuck the stone after you take it, or how does that work?
Well, here I've got a really funny. Can I share on this? I've never shared on.
Yes, it's just like StreamYard, dude.
Stream?
So at the
Okay.
bottom, share screen, and then I'll pull it up.
It says I'm
So that's
not
what they were
allowed.
doing with all them stones on the beach, huh?
Here, I'm gonna send you a file, okay?
Yeah.
Oh shit! You don't use iMessage, you fucking
Come on, dude. That's
third world.
the iMessage is the devil's work. Hold on, give me a second.
So here I can't. Yeah, I've got to use Chrome or something to share, but
What
whatever.
are you on
If
right
you
now?
just look up, if you could just look up on Google pictures of ancient stone anchors. They're stone ship anchors, just so people can kind of see what we're talking about.
Ancient stone acres. Ancient.
Yes, please.
And somebody said, were they parking posts for elephants? I like that one.
Could have been. Some people say they were mooring stones for airships. I've talked about that recently. There was airships in Peru in ancient times. We know that because they can build them out of tribal materials. Ever hear about this?
No.
Yeah, they had airships in ancient South America, so probably around the whole world. But
What?
yeah, tribal hunter-gatherer people could build hot air balloons in Peru in ancient times. And this
Whoa.
kind of ties into Atlantis, believe it or not. But yeah, just zooming in on these stones here, these are generally called ship anchors. And they're typically the size of a backpack, but they get pretty dang big in other places. Yes, they're similar to the what do they call those? The koi stones, something like that. Moi stone. There's the moai, which is different. But this is, man, they have some name, but whatever. Saxor stones is what we call them in Florida, and they're really big. In the Mediterranean is where you find them typically.
Look at that one. What the hell, dude?
Yeah, it's all me.
That's wild. And we got to
And
remember too. So, right, because we talked about the Timucua earlier and how they use these stones for altars of some sorts. Part of the Adder Stone lure is that in Russian folklore, Adder stones were believed to be the abodes of spirits. So they have this talismanic nature to them, because you're talking about it from a practical perspective. I don't know if you've ever talked about the metaphysical aspects, perhaps, of these Saxor
yes,
stones.
that's what my next video is going to be about: is the Adder Stone, Hag Stone, Saxor Stone connection.
Because Saxor had the visions. Did the visions lead him to the stones?
Yes, he went to eat at that restaurant.
Oh,
and saw the one in front of there for the first time. Yeah, he was visiting his grandma in Florida.
interesting. Again, grandma.
Yeah.
Shout out to the grandmas out there. Make sure your grandma stays safe during the hurricane.
Inanna, the original high priestess, goddess of everything, is your grandma. Inanna, Nana. I have a Nana. I call my grandma Nana. God
And that's
bless.
interesting that a lot of the words that we use, for example, the days of the week, are nods to gods of these ancient cultures. So whenever you say Thursday, you're hailing Thor, essentially. I mean, Thor's day, Friday, Freya day. And I think that part of the grammatical grimoire, right? Because that's where the word grammar comes from, grimoire, a book of spells, is that. And in my opinion, a lot of these times when we're constantly saying these names, right? You talked about how John D. Rockefeller established the work week. Well, Sunday, right, is the rest day. And that's that we follow that day to the T. Oh, you got to rest, you got to go to church or whatever it is. And I think that this is all set up in some sort of way to keep the gods of old alive in some sort of weird magical way. And like how you said earlier, it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. The people in power believe it.
Oh yeah.
And
100%.
they're continuing these rituals every single day.
You've got to go do a Melbourne video, Juan. Go drive over and do a Aleister Crowley family video.
So I could have swore that he had a cottage, the Crowley cottage, but I don't know if that was attributed to him, Crowley, because I have a friend who did the hymn to Pan, and we're talking about using magic to influence weather. When he did this hymn to Pan, shortly after it started to thunder, and there was a storm that rolled in, and they were doing this ritual to try They were trying to
Get
summon
laid for the
Bigfoot.
first time,
They were trying to summon Bigfoot, dude. So they had a guy
pretty
upstairs.
much.
They had a guy upstairs who had taken mushrooms, staring into a mirror, trying to scry into this mirror. And it's the Skunk Ape Experiments by Stacy Brown. You guys can check that out where they do all this crazy stuff. But I could have swore this was linked to Aleister Crowley, but I'm not seeing any connection here with the Aleister Crowley. Because this is in this is in Sarasota.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah, I could have swore it was somewhere else. Yeah, so this is in Sarasota
Huh.
by Mayaka River State Park.
And this is related to the Aleister Crowley family.
Well, that's what I had thought that he had a. Let me see if I can find the history on this. I don't think it's related, but I could have swore it was, and that's why he did the hymn to
Right.
Pan there.
Sure.
But I guess not. No, doesn't look like it. Again, I could be wrong, but I'm not seeing anything off the rip here.
Yeah.
So, what else did you have on the docket, Longo?
Yeah, so you got Helene with
Yes.
the most devastation happening at this quartz producing center in North Carolina. Very suspect. They got particularly devastated. Then you look at Siesta Key, Sarasota area. Looks like it's in the direct path of Hurricane Milton. Well, what else is oh shit, what was I gonna say? Oh, something else happened in between these. There was actually an earthquake in Iran. There's all this stuff popping off in the Middle East, right? Israel, Lebanon, Hezbollah, Hezbollah, blah blah. I mean, come on. And they've got Iran having this big earthquake. So
4.5.
Do the Amish control the weather? Do the Haitians control the weather? Do the Italians control the weather? I don't know. Someone might. But
or is it the Jews that control? Oh, no. Okay.
Whoa.
I said it. What are you going to do about it? You're not going to do a goddamn thing about it.
It's just the Juan on Juan.
You're not going to do a damn thing about it, Long. I said it. I said it. So you think this is all so okay. The implications of that, right? Using weather weapons, I guess you could call them, right? Yeah. To destroy the opposing party, because you said, right, do the Haitians control the weather or whatever it is? That's an interesting again, you get what I'm saying. You're saying that it's connected, that this all might, because it feels like a lot of the times whenever these storms show up, and I don't mean to be a doomer, but it feels like I saw this other conspiracy on this particular storm, that when it passes, there's a model that shows another storm following up 2 weeks after, right up the center again. And it's like, can you, again, you can't trust these models, right? Because they're just AI or whatever they are. But there's other people talking about that this storm, they were like, have you ever seen the perfect storm where these two storms merge together? Because there's like this disturbance at the top over here somewhere. And they're like, this is going to merge with another storm, and it's going to become a superstorm.
Okay.
Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you don't understand it doesn't make it a conspiracy or fake and gay or whatever. And I've been thinking, dude, and I want to get your opinion on this, because this is going to be controversial, right? But is global warming a thing? Because they've been talking about storms doing this for many, many years. Is it foreshadowing? Is it weather manipulation by the Illuminati and the lizard people? Or could, and this is going to get, is global warming real?
Oh, is real. Global warming is real. It's not real, but it is real. If you catch my drift.
I catch you. Drift,
How about? Sure, I forgot what I was going to say.
It's okay, dude. I know what you did before the stream. Is global warming real or not? What do you say? You kind of going back and forth. Is it yes or is it no?
No.
Chat is saying
real.
fake and gay.
Not real. Yeah, definitely not.
Release the Kraken. Yeah, gonna get real fake. All right. I'm just asking. I saw the movie.
It's
that was that one movie.
Well, it's our destiny to warm up. So in the grand scheme, we are warming up. But no, there is not a short-term climate change. Okay, it's all El Nino. You guys don't know what El Nino is? Well, you better read up on it, okay? It's El Nino.
Yeah, that's the gayest thing I've heard Juan say. Like that comment. I'm just asking questions. All right.
They want us to stay in the ice age, these people. Ice is death. Hell is frozen. Hell is frozen. Invierno, infierno. Inferno, inverno. It's winter and hell. Hell is Helsinki, one of the coldest places in the world. It is lack of life, lack of light, lack of warmth. Where the sun doesn't shine, that's hell. Dante's deepest layer of hell was frozen, I believe.
Yes.
And that should indicate to everybody it's not heat that you have to be afraid of. Heat is what they used in medieval times in the Inquisition to terrorize people and say, oh, you're going to pass through fire to hell, you're going to burn, it's going to hurt. But originally, everybody's always known real hell, real lack of God, lack of life, torment, eternal nothingness is frozen, freezing cold, like a grave, freezing cold. So them wanting to keep us in a cold polar bear, terrarium where it's freezing cold, we all have to suffer the same climate, just because the polar bears are going down in population, even though I've actually heard they're going up. I've heard that. But
who's your source?
We all need to, it's like catering to the weakest in society. We're catering to the coldest on the planet, right? That doesn't suit the future. We're warming up. I think those polar bears can adapt, but they want us to stay frozen, chilled, refrigerated, like a corpse, like meat in a butchery, like a hospital room, cold, climate change. It's evil. Heat is good. Warmth is good. Paradise, the Garden of Eden, was subtropical. So, of course, they want us to stay frozen. Frozen keeps the resource competition very high to cold weather.
You also talked about the corpses, right? And you talked to me about the facility in Florida where they have the corpses frozen. Yeah. And we're probably do you know where that facility is?
Yeah, so I don't know where it is, but I know its name. And people are going to really like this one. And do you know what the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet is, Juan?
Is it, and I'm retarded, is it a left?
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Okay, cool.
Bingo.
Thanks, Dad.
That's what it's called. Yeah, ALEF. Yeah, hey, get down on Disney and Datney, and we're gonna freeze your ass, okay? Disney style. Orlando.
So ALEF.
ALEF. Freezing people. It's called I got it written down here.
Hold on.
Alcor Life Extension Foundation.
Here you go. I got it.
Yeah, and I was thinking when this hurricane comes over, I found out about this place, I think today or yesterday. I was like, what's going to happen if they lose power? How many generations do they got going on? Generators, not
234
generations.
patients.
Generators.
Is this how many bodies? Is Walt Disney here? Is this where they have Walt Disney's head?
Whoa, look at that 1444. The Chosen. Are these the
Uh-oh.
144,000 who are going to survive the
Illuminati
apocalypse?
confirmed.
Getting too
Uh-oh.
close to the truth.
FBI, open
They're
up!
about to come in,
Uh-oh.
just like
drinking-
Milton. He's about to bust. Yikes.
I've been sipping
Okay.
a little too much black drink tonight. I think you have been too.
I got I got Dr. Pepper's 23 flavors in me right now, all of them. Yeah.
Jesus.
Speaking of Masonic connection there. So this place is where in Florida, dude? And where the hell did you get a left from?
It's
This is
the
in
acronym.
Scottsdale, Arizona. What are you talking about?
No. There's one in Florida. Forgive me. There's one in Florida.
I'll forgive you when you give me your source for polar bears. Who the hell are you talking to that knows about polar bears?
That wasn't. I've just seen online that the population's going up, not down.
So
They've
Coral
got one in Florida.
Springs.
Yeah,
No,
they
that's
got one in Florida.
That's Alcor Electric. Hold on.
No, that's them. Alcor is Aleph. It's ALEF. Alcor is the A, and it's Alcor Life Extension Foundation.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Aleph.
I'm sure that they have a sophisticated. So the Alcor Life Extension Foundation held a
Yeah.
global cryonics summit in Miami, Florida on July 20th to the 21st.
Yeah.
What does this do to the soul? Bro, what do you think happens after death, Longo? What do you think what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my intuition tells me that it depends on the circumstances of death, but a natural death, if you were to lie in your lie down in your bed at an old age and get sent off to the afterlife, if you're a good person, you'd go to what most people consider heaven or a better reincarnation, right? You could debate that all night long. But I think that if you're murdered or suddenly killed, that's where you get more of your kind of ghost stories where you talk about the art of dying, right? And preparations for death that you should take before dying that most people kind of work out naturally with an old life, but certain traditions try to instill at a younger age through initiation, just in case these people die, haphazardly or in combat or suddenly. You want to have preparations so that if you show up on death's doorstep very quickly at a young age without that life experience, you have kind of these mystical checks, these mystical keys that you can kind of punch in and get through, even if it's a sudden kind of lights going out. Because most cultures agree you kind of have to navigate your way after death. As much as what you did here gets weighed, you still have kind of an active duty in the next life. So you hear about the art of dying, practicing dying. I think that most people work that stuff out naturally with long life. So by the time you die, let's say at 70, 80 years old, the spirit peacefully departs the body and goes either to heaven or a positive reincarnation, like I said. But if you are suddenly terminated, there's three bodies, there's three souls, there's three yous. Number one is the body, right? That's when you're conceived, the body takes hold right away. That's the flesh, the matter, the mud, the material in your mother's utter, right? That is the material, physical body. Then you have the soul. the soul does not enter the body. Sorry, abortion debate people.
Whoa, dude.
The soul does not enter the body until the moment of birth. The first
Oh
light.
shit.
First light. First light. So when you're in the womb, you're protected from solar radiation. So the solar rays, hasn't penetrated into the body yet. When you come out, you receive your first light. Doesn't matter if you're in a hospital room. That's solar radiation we're talking about, not just sunlight. It penetrates anything. So you get your soul when you leave your mother, and that's why we celebrate astrology, and you celebrate your birthday. It's the moment the soul entered the body. That is, now I'm not saying that life shouldn't be protected, and I'm not saying that whatever came before that isn't, sacred and is valuable, but in the fullest sense of the word soul, meaning the soul that's going to soak up all your memories and life experience, that kind of flies into the body at the moment of birth. Okay? The one in between is the electromagnetic ghost. You could say this is more magnetic. This is the tether between the body, the mud, the flesh, and the soul, just pure light. So if you're, in a saloon and you get executed behind by a cowboy, right? From behind, boom, lights out
From
like
behind.
that. Didn't even get a chance to have your life flash before your eyes. Well, your soul's going to go right back to where it came from, right back. But those kind of trials and tribulations haven't been determined yet. So the ghost, this is where you get those stories of ghosts lingering. The body, boom, falls down to the floor. That's done. That's dead immediately. The body's dead. You can't revive a dead body like that. It's gone. It's done. Brain's blown out. So the soul goes back to where it came from. The sun, light, source, God. I say God. I don't like source. That's for sorcerers. But then you look at the body. The body goes back to the earth, as it says in the Bible. Both these are expressed in the Bible. Well, what's in between is the ghost. That's why you say, oh, I saw a ghost. Well, typically it's violent, sudden deaths that leave this biggest imprint, where kind of that in-between body is still splattered around the site of, sudden death. That can linger, it can stick to things, it can rub off on things. And I forget what you originally said, but that's kind of the separation of what I believe after you die is naturally you go to where you're supposed to. You know what I mean? Personally, I believe in reincarnation. I think it's the same thing as heaven. That's what I personally believe. That reincarnation and heaven's the same thing. Rebirth and reincarnation are not the same. You don't come into your same exact identity. Definitely not.
Does the Bible talk about reincarnation? Do you know?
You could. There are passages in the New and Old Testament that indicate whether it's rebirth or reincarnation, talk about some type of rebirth. But, it's not an overt teaching of modern Christians, but early Christians, some of them did believe in reincarnation. It's also a component that's taken out of, Platonism and the Greeks. They believed in rebirth. They believed in some type of returning of the soul. And that's kind of gotten stripped out of what we think of as ancient Greek religion or mythology. They believed in some of them. You can't say all of them, but it was a popular concept at the time. It would have been a popular concept for early Christians too. I'm a Christian. I call myself a Christian, and I believe in reincarnation. I don't see any conflict between the two. And
you mentioned the right. So talking about what happens after death, life beyond death. I had a couple of people asking about astral projection and OBEs, and somebody said that if you've never had a near-death experience, that you can't talk about what happens after death. There I saw in one of the comments. But you mentioned earlier, it's kind of off topic, the Bach saga. And part of this hurricane is that it's taking the water from this current that you've always talked about, that you've linked to Atlantis. You know, we always talk about Florida being the Garden of Eden. Maybe perhaps the lizard people and the Illuminati know this, and they're trying to take Florida out by bombarding it with all these storms. But one of the major things that's going to happen is once the storm is done sucking up the dinosaur juice at the Chick-fil-A crater, it's going to jump into that Gulf Stream, and it's going to intensify a little bit more. And then they say it's going to die down before it makes landfall. But at this point, who knows? I'm trying to pull up a picture of it here.
It could.
It's not showing up. But yeah, that warm water. Here we go. See if I can get it. No, hold on, give me a second. But it just made me think of that when you talked about the Bach saga, because I know you've connected it to the Bach saga before, the Gulf Stream.
Yeah, it's the Bach saga talks about the Gulf Stream. A lot of the Atlantis stories talk about the Gulf Stream. Edgar Casey talks about the Gulf Stream. Bach saga talks about the Gulf Stream and Atlantis. And I think Ignatius Donnelly brings it up. But anyone who's seriously considering a transatlantic maritime empire would have to address the Gulf Stream. It's like the warm water highway that you could use to cross the Atlantic very easily. And it traces the coast of Florida, sneaks in between the Bahamas and Florida. I think Columbus probably picked up a piece of it when he went past the Bahamas. But
what did Casey say about the Gulf Stream?
He said Bimini was the main spot of Atlantis, and he said the Gulf Stream was kind of the reason why that this big shipping, right? Not only was it a military force, they were doing commerce too. So the shipping route would have been the Gulf Stream, just like it was in the 1500s when the Spanish were shipping all their gold across the Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
That's why St. Augustine is what it is, because Bimini is here. You got Florida Peninsula right here. The Gulf Stream sneaks, slithers in between Bimini and Florida. And then it goes up to St. Augustine, and around St. Augustine is where it juts out across the Atlantic. So St. Augustine is where they would take kind of their right-hand turn to go back to Europe, the ships during the Age of Discovery. And thousands of years ago, the Gulf Stream was there. According to the Bach saga, the Gulf Stream is what defeated climate change. It's what defeated the Ice Age. If it wasn't for the Gulf Stream, we know this, Iceland, Greenland, Ireland, those would all turn into ice cubes. It's the Gulf Stream that's keeping them warm. In the southern parts of Britain, there's some areas where they can grow subtropical plants like palms and ferns or like succulents.
Really?
Yeah. And that's in Wicker Man too. Wicker Man talks about that. Wicker Man talks about, it's this, I forget, it's kind of fictionalized, but there's either the Southern Isles or the Summer Isles. But it's kind of the same thing because they're the southern parts of Britain and in England and Ireland. But it's also the Summer Isles because it's like they said it was always summer there. Winter doesn't hit them. So they can grow certain crops there. But in the Wicker Man story, he goes to the Summer Isle or Southern Isle and finds that they have all this great produce that you can't get anywhere else in Britain.
Not the bees. Pretty sure that's the Nick Cage one where runs into the bees. That's interesting, dude. So it's literally the life force of
Yeah. It's like the umbilical cord of the
Mhm.
world's oceans. The Mississippi feeds into this. It's kind of half and half. All the spring water that's oozing out of Florida that empties into the Gulf of Mexico. There's a pressure to the Gulf of Mexico. There's so much water coming out of the Mississippi and out of Florida and out of the Yucatan. You know, Florida and the Yucatan have kind of the same properties as far as spring water go. Florida has more, but Yucatan has very impressive freshwater features too. And those all dump out into the Gulf of Mexico. Mississippi's dumping into the Gulf of Mexico, a lot of other rivers. Because of that, because of kind of how bottlenecked it is between Cuba and Yucatan and Florida, the Gulf stands 7 inches higher than the Atlantic and the Caribbean and the other oceans of the world. It stands 7 inches higher. So that's kind of the outpour of all this water that largely constitutes the Gulf Stream. It goes from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of Finland, Scandinavia, Iceland, Greenland. According to the Bach saga, that's what freed all of Europe from the Ice Age. The Gulf Stream kept on pumping all the way through the Ice Age. And Edgar Casey kind of says a similar thing.
So even in these stories, they've already defeated global warming in some sort of way, right?
Yeah. Global warming. And Edgar Casey talks about dinosaurs too a little bit. He says that, there was giant monsters that humans had to beat in battle after the ice ages and the deluges. And that's what a lot of the dinosaurs really were. But
So we just got another update at I didn't see this one at 10 p.m.
yeah.
and it looks like it's still gonna hit, still looks like a direct hit there into Tampa. So it hasn't really shifted much, but if you look at this storm, dude, the way it came from here, right from the Gulf, very rare, right? They call it a rare storm, right? To come from here, and it just intensified from a category 1 to a 5 in what, a day? And it's a 5 right now, and it's going to continue allegedly into see, so this is
Category
the area I was
7.
talking about. What was that?
Category 7.
No. Well, yeah, whatever. But the part that I was talking about was here of that warm pocket. But storms that intensify this quickly, I've heard that they get a little bit disorganized, when they go under that rapid intensification.
Right.
But I don't know, dude. That's very interesting. The Gulf Stream connection, it's obviously playing a role right now. It played a role in all these mythologies back then. And how you're saying it's literally the lifeblood of a good part of the world. I saw this conspiracy, dude. I don't know, or I saw this graphic that why don't and I'll Google this. Why don't hurricanes cross the equator? Did you see that?
Why don't they cross the equator?
Yeah.
What is that? The Coriolis effect? Something like that?
Why don't hurricanes cross the equator? Let's see what the AI says.
Are you going to write your name on your arm, Juan?
There you go, bro. It's the spinning of the globe. Without the spin of the earth and the resultant Coriolis force, hurricanes would not form.
When I met Juan, he was a flat earth denying normie.
No, dude, I don't deny any possibility, but I feel like there needs to be more, in my opinion, more proof to me. I think that seeing is believing. Because let's say you get any one of these flat earthers on, and I know it's not that simple, but let's say, and actually I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, why don't we raise enough money? How much is we get a private, no, it's not going to work because they'll shoot you down. You can't fly over Antarctica. Anyways, fly near the ice wall or something, take somebody to see it and film the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, or fly across. Can we hire somebody? Is that like a mission that they take? Just fly across Antarctica or something.
Yeah, but haven't you heard that they keep people from going there?
Yeah, that's what I'm
With-
saying. That they'll shoot you down or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not that simple. But for me personally, I need to see it to believe it. I feel like,
Sure.
if you have this YouTube video of some guy that showed up out of nowhere one day, it's like, oh, it's all flat and it's because of this, and this.
Yeah.
I'm more of a hollow earther because you can
Whatever.
go there. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Flat globe. I'm with some of these people in the comments. It doesn't matter. What does really matter is geocentric or heliocentric. Now I'm a geocentrist, and I think it's flat. I think it's the plane of inertia, planet Earth. It's practically a anagram for plane of inertia, which would be the thin disk between two halves of a torus field. That makes the most sense to me. It is a sphere. It is round. But it's, what we're standing on is flat foundation.
Sure.
It is bedrock. It's fixed, immovable. And I think that just as the sky is expansive, the ground is expansive. The ground is just as expansive as the sky. The ocean, the water is pretty much the threshold between up and down. But you generally have air and fire up in the sky, and you have earth and water down below. The tree is at the center of every world model because the tree is at the center of every atom, every cell. The tree is equal up, equal down, branches and roots, especially like something like an oak tree. That's where you get your Yggdrasil. Backwards, Yggdrasil is lizard egg.
Back to
Yggdrasil,
Adderstone.
the tree at the beginning, at the center of everything, at the beginning of everything. It's not necessarily a literal tree at the North Pole. I believe it's the magnetic tree between up and down, or in between. And that's Earth. Earth is an anagram for heart. Heart is the middle chakra. Green. Earth is green. This sounds very schizo and like kindergarten classy, I know, but it's true. Earth is the heart plane. Planet Earth. Plane of inertia, the heart plane. There's 7 chakras, right? There's 3 up, 3 down, 1 in the middle. I believe that Earth mirrors the heart chakra. It's green. A lot of blue on there too, but what we live on is green. And yeah.
Should
up
we
and
take
down.
calls?
Yeah, I'm always down. You can do that on here.
Yeah, I can do that on here. So let's take some calls from some locals.
Let's watch like a little bit of storm damage.
You said
know,
Instagram, right?
check
What
in
do-
on. Yeah.
What do I look up? Yeah, I'm gonna post a link and I'm gonna try and can I pin stuff on here? Hold up. Let me see if I can pin stuff on here. Hold on. Oh Jesus. Oh, here we go. Let me post a link. I want to hear from some locals of what you guys are doing, how you guys are preparing. I don't think they'll see it on your chat though, dude. Here, but I'll pull it up on the screen.
Send me
The
link.
chat's
I'll
going
throw it
crazy.
in.
I can't. I'm trying to
I
click
got
on
it.
my thing. Here we go.
I got it.
You got it?
Yep.
Yeah, we have 980 people watching right now, so the chat's going a little bit crazy, but I
Hell
want to
yeah.
hear from you guys. Jump in to the call. Keep it clean. If you get out of
Yep.
hand, I'll smack you down with my wiener, but keep it clean when you jump on. Let us Damn, we already got one person. Jesus. All right.
Yeah,
Let's
quick on the
let's get-
trig.
quick on the trigger, bro. This dude just ready to jump at it. But let's get in here. Truth bearer. Let's bring him in.
Yeah, so I live in probably like Central Florida, just above north of Orlando, and we're expecting some storm-like conditions. I do remember when Ian came through, and it came through coming in from Fort Myers, and then up, and so we got some of it, and I waited up until like 2 a.m. in the morning looking at the skies and the winds, and on my property I got about 2.5 acres. And it was probably about maybe 30 to 30 to 40-mile-an-hour winds, but our property fared pretty well. We don't flood in this area. My property doesn't flood. I'm kind of expecting the same that we got from Ian, so I hope that's the case, because I know that when it came through from the western side, it had a big impact on Fort Myers area. And then
Yes.
coming through Central Florida, it kind of slowed down a little bit. But then when it went ass out from Daytona, it tore Daytona, Port Orange, New Smyrna Beach. It tore all that place up.
So,
And you said you're where, dude?
I'm like Central Florida, like north of Orlando.
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm by Kissimmee. So
Okay, yeah, you're a little south than me, but
I'm by Mickey Mouse, by Disney.
Okay, right on, yeah.
What was your name?
Along the four.
What was your name, gentleman?
My
Or
name is Chris.
alias?
Yeah, I mean it's Truth Bearer. I go by that on Rockfin, but yeah, it's
Truth
Chris.
Bearer.
Yeah.
Legendary. So,
Yeah, no.
Chris, what do you
Yes.
think? Manipulated or organic hurricane?
Well, okay. So this is what I believe, and I believe what I believe is a lot of the same lines of probably what you may believe as well, Narco. But I believe we live in a hermetic system. Okay, so there is going to be storms that are happening. There's going to be rainfall. There's going to be snowstorms. All those kind of things. I believe that. But this is what I didn't say this. The world leaders have said this. Okay, that they now back in the 50s and 60s. There's a video of Lyndon B. Johnson saying, "We now have the ability to control the weather, and he who controls the weather controls the world." Okay, and there's been many
Did he say
documents.
that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it's on a video, and so now check this out. So with the advent or the coming out of geoengineering, okay, they've admitted a lot of things that there's documentaries on this where they say they can increase, decrease, divert, and direct hurricanes. And it's just like, okay, so if you have that ability, why don't you, if this is also natural, why don't you do something to decrease it or divert it or do something, stall it? But they don't. So it's in the way that Hurricane Helene came up and went and ripped through, and not only when it hit the landmass, it gained and increased in intensity and destroyed all of those areas where they're supposed to be doing all this important mining and stuff, right? Clear all the people out of there. This is the Gen 2030, right? Get people back into the 50-minute cities. Okay. Now they come and they hit us again with another hurricane system that looks like impossible to have been created naturally because of where it originated. It's going to shoot across and hit Tampa, a red state.
Right.
They want to clear this stuff out. So
Ooh, good point.
we're 40 hours
states.
out. Yeah, we're 40
hidden swing states.
maybe. Okay, but we're 48 hours out. If there is this claim that you can do this with the weather, why don't you help us?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. If you can do it just like, magic or the force or whatever, how you can use it for good, you can use it for evil, right? In this particular situation, they're using it for evil or something nefarious.
What I'm saying is that there have been people that have made this claim. So if you've made this claim of how this isn't natural, now, it's crazy. Okay, so I'm 50 years old. Okay, and I'm from Los Angeles, so I just moved to Florida like the past couple of years. But since I've been here, and I've lived in Florida for a few other years because I was in the military and did a lot of training here. I've been through a couple of hurricanes. Now, going back, I'm 50 years old, right? Going back 100 years ago is when they were first starting to make claims that they can control the weather. Okay, so I believe that they've been able to perfect some conditions that are created when you have these summer months coming through the Gulf. It warms all the waters up from the Atlantic. It warms all the waters up in the Gulf. So they've been able to take advantage of these conditions and been able to intensify this stuff, along with all the electromagnetic stuff that they're putting up in the skies from HARP and these other installations they have all across the world. I said a lot. I'm sorry.
There you good. Narco, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm muted, so my ceiling bird just quit be chirping. What's your zodiac sign, Chris?
Well, so tropically, I'm a Cancer, but
Uh-oh.
when I went through and there's a guy you may be familiar with. He's been on Coach 7, Athen Clementi.
Okay.
I did the sidereal sign, and I would be a
Sure.
Gemini. I would be a Gemini. So take it as you will. You know,
You're a Cancer.
probably.
A Cancer.
I'm you know, I'm an emotional kind of guy, so I love the moon. I love that
Right.
feminine part of me, but I'm a very masculine person. Yeah, I kind of identify more with Cancer.
Yeah. What do you think's more important, the sun or the stars?
I believe the sun gives life. That's where life begins. And so this is I'm going to talk some esoteric stuff a little bit. Okay.
The
Tropical
solar
winds.
anus. You ever heard about that?
So I believe the sun is the positive. Okay. That's the
Right.
because when you look at the law of polarity, right? There's the positive and negative. I believe the sun is the positive. Okay. Now the illuminaries, the stars, they give us guidance. Okay. So the sun gives us light and the stars give us guidance. So I don't put one or the other. They have to be all there together. Does that make sense?
Sure, of course.
I like that. Listen,
Who you got? Trump or Biden?
You know, so here's my
politics
thought.
is an illusion. You don't have to answer that, dude. It's all right.
Oh,
Well,
my
no,
God.
I want to tell people this because I want maybe your listeners to know. Okay, so my idea is that we live in WWE. Okay, this is all show. Now,
I beat you to that earlier this
okay,
episode, bro.
okay, cool,
We're already on the WWE timeline.
Here we
But
go then.
continue.
Here we go then. So now check this out. Now, in order to bring in, now what is Trump's main slogan been over the past like 8 years when he first ran, right? Was Make America Great Again, right?
Make alchemy great again.
Everyone's got MAGA hats on, right? Okay. Now, just in the past several weeks, he's come out and said, we need to give more voice to Israel in the Congress. Does that sound like Make America Great Again? And then he's talking about we need to put up a digital surveillance system, sea, land, and air. And then he passed all those laws against the bump stocks and stuff like that, and against the Second Amendment. So I believe that he's got a big pull. He's got the Christian conservative, Bible believing, gun toting American, right? He's got them. Now, who better to put in a digital surveillance system, like he said, than Trump? He's going to be able to pull all of these guys in, and all of the left, they want this stuff anyways. So I don't think that Kamala could do it. I think Trump's going to do it, and I think they're going to use him. But here's another thing. I want to point this out real quick. Is he said, now, quoting off of Noel Yuval Harari, he said that this was going to be the last presidential election. Now, what did Trump say in the past couple of weeks? This may be the last presidential election. So I believe he's a part of the game. He's a part of WE. He's part of the Mr. Global. And though if he does win, I believe he's going to win. It's going to be to pull all of these individuals to this digital surveillance biosecurity state. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Well, Chris, you got one more question for him, or you're good?
No, that's it, man. Appreciate you calling in, Chris.
Yeah,
Chris, you stay safe, brother. Take it easy. Thank you for calling in. We're gonna pull in the
Write your
next
name on your arm, bro. Stay
def,
safe out
most
there.
def, yeah.
Take it easy, Chris. We're gonna bring in the next caller here, Roz Eric. Hopefully he's there. Roz, you're on the air. What's up, dude?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Howdy.
All right.
Doing good. Where are you calling out of?
I'm in Colorado.
Nice.
Oh, dude, Colorado?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, man. Where are you guys at?
We're in Florida,
Where do
dude.
you-
Oh, about to get moist out there, huh?
Real moist by
Yeah.
Milton.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I heard the last caller he was talking about, I think Lyndon B. Johnson was talking about weather modification, but I remember JFK was talking about it as well, and that was 1963. But you know, we got to look back to really Nikola Tesla, who came out with the technology. And what I always think about is, you know, there's this interview with Trump, and he's like, my uncle was a very, very smart man. And his uncle he's referring to was Dr. John Trump, who was in charge of, you know, MIT alien affairs for Navy intelligence and who took over Nikola Tesla's files when he died. So, in essence, the entire Trump family took control of Nikola Tesla's technology, which, you know, is being used today in HARP.
Sure. Well,
So-
isn't there any good technology in there? You think he got any of the good stuff, or just the weather?
Oh
Bad
man,
weather
I bet they got all sorts of good stuff and things that we don't even understand.
Do you think he's using a? Do you think a Tesla device was passed down within the Trump family that's counteracting all the Diet Coke and McDonald's? You know, he's putting in this bad fuel, but he's doing so well. It seems this maybe he's got a little Tesla med bed he takes a little nap in once
Have
a
you
day
seen
to,
like have you seen the videos of like um Back to the Future 2 and how it all ties into time travel
yeah.
and, you know, the adventures of Baron Trump?
Mhm.
I feel, you know, that tied in with the Philadelphia experiment, there's a possibility that they are possibly bending time, space, and traveling to and fro. I don't know. I think they definitely have their their hands on things that are beyond our comprehension at this time, and I believe this storm has something to do with it as well.
Totes.
So what are you guys hearing about this storm over in Colorado? Is it are you staying up to date with it, or is it just like because I had a friend of mine from, I think it was either Oregon or somewhere out on the West Coast, and he was like, I had no idea about it. Have you guys been hearing about it there where you're at?
I was in the wilderness, came home, had no idea, and then, you know, I started thinking, oh, I know those rivers because I used to be a river guide, so I know about the Nolichucky and the French Broad and all these rivers that flooded the Carolinas and Tennessee are small towns where of guides I used to work with. So I heard about it through that, and you know that there's one article I saw that I think it was the French Broad, no, it was the Nolichucky was at 1.2 million CFS, which is twice the amount of power of Niagara Falls at one point. So, yeah, these rivers just completely ripped towns apart. I don't know. Did you guys get hit pretty hard there?
No,
Not
but
really.
we're about to with this one. Well, at least I am. Narco's a little bit further down south than I am, so he probably will feel some tropical storm winds. I'm the one that's going to get the hurricane force winds here in Central Florida. But that's wild that it had that amount of power. It was stronger than Niagara Falls.
Twice the power of Niagara Falls at one point.
That's insane. That's an insane amount of water. And also, right, the connection with the lithium and how they're saying there is no reopening date. So it's literally shut down. And I'm sure that by them shutting down completely, it's going to choke out these small towns. right? Because a lot of these towns make a living just from that industry. So what happens when the people leave? Like, who's going to take over that?
People are saying there's 15-minute cities. They want Asheville to be a 15-minute city. They want Tampa to be a 15-minute city. So who knows? I'm pretty sick of all that 15-minute city. Everything's a conspiracy theory
Yeah.
narrative. But
I don't think it's not a conspiracy theory. The thing is even in the small towns of Colorado where I've lived, the United Nations is controlling the building and planning departments. And that all is tied into Agenda 2030, which, it's all about sustainable development. And that's probably a huge reason for these storms as well, is not just the lithium mines, but these 15-minute cities and Agenda 2030. And yeah, I think we're coming up on it close. Next year it'll be just 5 years away. So we got to get all that lithium 15-minute cities done quick if they're going to make that plan happen.
I wonder if the hurricanes will stop once we have these cities implemented. I don't know. What do you think, Narco?
I mean, isn't that what they say with Hawaii and a couple of the other recent kind of cataclysmic events that it's all 15-minute cities?
Because I don't see anywhere else, right? I mean, in Colorado, you're saying that they're implementing these 15-minute cities, but what kind of destruction method are they using?
They don't need a weather event to get people to sign up for those over there. Colorado, people are lining up down the block for their 15-minute city safe pass, microchip. Colorado is people will
It's
sign
in the
up for
weed, man. It's in the weed.
On the eastern slope is totally different than the western slope. We're much more different on the west slope, more farmers out here. Denver and Boulder control, the front slope, and that's the main politics that control the states at this time. But yeah, I mean, there's no 15-minute cities per se being built yet. It's more of the planning and building departments that control all of these cities work directly for the United Nations. So to go get a permit, you have to pass all these criteria, and those just keep getting harder and harder. And, eventually you won't be able to drive. And you won't own anything, and you'll be happy.
Yikes. Well, you have any other questions for Roz here, Narco, before we bring in our next caller?
No. Is that your first time calling in, or you called in before?
No, man, I've seen you on Donut. It's my first time, but yeah.
Nice.
Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good night.
Wait, he's got to ask you your sign. He's got to ask you your sign first, and then you can go.
Oh, yeah.
Let me guess. Leo.
No, Aquarius.
You suck, Narco.
Whatever.
No, I'm a
I know what you are. You're a Taurus. Ain't no mistaking that.
Yeah. Bless up, guys.
Take it easy, Ross.
Peace.
Later, brother.
Peace.
Let's get some locals calling in here. And it's interesting, right? Because in Kissimmee, and I'm not sure if this is going to be a 15-minute city or not, but we have that Neo City. Have you ever heard about that? The Neo City in Kissimmee?
Mm-hmm.
No?
No. Haven't. Neo City, what is that? Is that like
it's
lazy river town where it's like a whole swimming pool town?
So Neo City is supposed to be, I believe, one of the most technologically advanced cities.
I know they've got like a couple resort cities in Florida where they pretty much tapped into an aquifer and made it like a submerged like resort where it's a big neighborhood that's linked by like almost like a lazy river. It's
really
ridiculous. Yeah, they're doing some wild.
It sounds kind of cool though.
Shit in Central Florida.
Yeah, I'll find the point of this, but it's supposed to be it's here in Kissimmee, and it's supposed to be this thing that they promised 500 acres, but they really haven't done much with it, and it's supposed to bring some jobs in, and it's going to be one of the highest tech cities there ever was. So here we'll bring in the next caller, DK.
Here, hang on. you gotta ask them stuff. You know what I mean? We gotta ask them stuff. We gotta keep it moving, keep it
All right.
quick. We don't want to hear the whole life story, etc. Or just here. This is what we're talking about. Talk about what we're talking about. You know, who's ever seen like old talk radio? You know, you call in, say, "Hey, caller, what do you think about this and this?" "Oh, I think about this and this and this." All right, next caller. You know what I mean? I
Here we go.
love our. Okay,
Here we go. Yeah, and we want locals calling in too, see what they're doing for the hurricane.
keep it quick fire.
All right, DK, you're online. You got a astrological emblem there.
Yep. Can you hear me?
What's up, dude? Where you calling
Yes,
from?
sir.
Calling from Vegas.
Fucking vape. Is there no Floridians here?
Sorry.
You're good, dude.
They're just tuning in to our downfall.
Yeah. My question is, how do you feel like the age of Aquarius is playing into this? Because obviously we're coming out of the age of Pisces, which is all about the ocean, and the age of Aquarius is all about fresh water. And now we're seeing Asheville get, pummeled by fresh water. And I'm just curious how you feel like the age of Aquarius is playing into all of these natural disasters.
Well, it's hard to kind of quantify, but with Aquarius, it's the sign that rules rain, not only in the year but the glyph. It's the pouring out of the waters. So you could say that's more rain in this age. It's going to be more just like you brought up travel or the sea in Pisces. Sea travel last 2,000 years, if not longer. Now we're looking at air travel as the predominant method of travel and shipping and all this. It's becoming that way. That's all very Aquarius. So you'd expect the weather to kind of trace that, to mirror that. So yeah, more rain you could expect in the age of Aquarius, maybe. But storms in general, maybe this is the last hurrah of Pisces, where Jupiter still is the ruler, and Neptune. Jupiter and Neptune rule Pisces. Those are both storm gods. And maybe this is the last hurrah of the age of Pisces, because we aren't officially, and official goes back to Pisces, by the way, of the fish, official, that we're not officially into Aquarius fully, but we're dang close. So maybe this is the last hurrah. Maybe we'll have smoother weather, but rain I could see, a lot more rain. You'd expect that too if things are getting a little bit more tropical around the world. You'd see them kind of moistening up too.
Yeah, I feel
How
the
do
same
you
way.
see it? How do you see it about the age of
Yeah.
Aquarius and weather?
Yeah, I feel kind of the same way. This could be the last hurrah, but I do think that floods in the inland and fires, because you have Aquarius, which is opposite to Leo, which is the fire sign. So I think fires and floods are probably going to get worse, but hopefully this is sort of the last expression of Poseidon before he kind of calms down.
Right. Well, I think that age of Aquarius, it does kind of speak more towards weather manipulation in my eyes, rather than suffering a new type of weather. I think that the big shift will be conquering weather, because we've seen man do what God told him to do, which is kind of to conquer and subdue the earth. Now in the age of Aquarius, we're spreading that reach even farther up into the sky, into the air. Antennas, radio waves, the cloud. I think that it's more likely we're going to be harnessing the weather, because
You mute you, bro.
Aquarius rules innovation. It rules. What do you say?
Hold on. That's homeboy there.
It might be my mic.
No, it's him.
Freaking out.
You got it?
Yeah, she's fine.
So, because that's one of the things that they talk about, all these conspiracies, right? Although the age of Aquarius, we're leaving it. It's going to be this almost a new awakening. And what's the sign that rules over Florida, Narco?
Pisces.
Yeah, Pisces. Every way you look at it, it's Pisces.
And what's that one look like? Because remember, I'm retarded.
That's the fish.
It's the fish, right?
Yep, two
Oh.
fish.
And we also have the Cetus, right? Doesn't Florida line up with Cetus as well?
Yeah, but that's kind of that's kind of a Pisces adjacent. That's
Okay.
still, if you're speaking zodiac, that's still in the Pisces zodiac sign. It's just not the Pisces constellation.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
Cetus, the fish hook, and the fish of Pisces are all in the Pisces zodiac sign, either entirely or partially. But yeah, and you find the earthworks built in the shape of fish, Cetus, the whale, sea monster, whatever, and fish hooks all over Florida. Florida's birthday, March 3rd, 3-3. It's Pisces. Florida's zip codes, most of them are 3-3. Some are 3-2, but 3-3. Coral Castle, 3-3. You've also got, I forget what else, but there's more in there too.
Because I'm just wondering how that plays a role into, right? Florida looks like a little fish, and how that.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any stories of Cetus or of what you guys say, Pisces and storms.
Well, doesn't Jonah the whale story have to do with the storm too?
Does it?
I forget. I should know that, but
Damn, dude. Jonas the whale story. Storm. Anyways. Yeah, no, that's a sign of God's anger. In the Bible story, and a storm, yeah, is a sign of God's anger at Jonah for disobeying his orders. So is God angry at us for disobeying the orders? And that's
well,
why
that's a good point about the age of Aquarius. Caller, another factor in this would be Pisces. You could say embodies a flood, right? It's water. We're at max capacity. Maybe the sea levels might even be as high as they've ever been right now, right? Age of water. Age of Aquarius, we're kind of telling the story backwards here because the ages go backwards. But Pisces going into Aquarius, what else does Aquarius rule? It rules gender neutrality and the LGBTQ deception. Yes. Well, if weather is a form of God's divine judgment, and this movement is sparking off, and it's really going to kick up in the age of Aquarius, we can expect more of that good old divine judgment in the form of weather. And especially when they're waving around the rainbow flag, which is the mark of the covenant that God gave to promise he wouldn't flood the earth again. But rubbing it in his face isn't gonna, pushing the envelope on that, testing his limits, testing his temper by, oh yeah, we're the sodomizers, we're the child mutilators, we're the this and that, and we use the rainbow flag with 6 colors, by the way. It's not the sacred rainbow. It's the defiled sodomite rainbow flag with 6 colors. One of them's brown for sodomy. Disgusting. And
nice.
That flag getting waved as the symbol of this movement, that could earn us another flood. That could earn us another, weather event if they're waving the rainbow right back in God's face.
Well, the rainbow was the promise to not flood it again, wasn't it? And next time it's going to be by fire?
Yeah, maybe. I don't listen. The world's never going to get destroyed again. I hate to rain on anyone's parade. The world doesn't get destroyed. Graham Hancock, Marvel, all these people are on the same page. They can't get anyone's boner up unless they're talking about the world ending. It's the only way you can sell something at this point. Oh, the world's going to end. Oh, I know when the world ended last, and it's going to end again. This doomerism needs to be put to bed. Catastrophes happen. Regional things happen. Noah's flood might have happened. But I believe in God's covenant that he will not flood the earth again. I believe he wouldn't scorch the earth again either. I don't think this is how nature works. I don't think that's how Christianity works. And I think the proof's in the pudding. Show me. I've seen disasters. I've seen terrible disasters. But the fact that everyone's so on board with this universal catastrophe that's, oh yeah, right on down the road, it's going to happen any second now. The world's going to end. People want the world to end. My brother brought up a really good point about boomers. So many boomers are into the doomerism. It's the older generation who really think the world's going to end. They think the world's going to end, and this ties into Aquarius too. They can't keep up with all the technology. They want the world to go back to the Stone Age. Deep in their unconscious mind, the older generation wants the lights to just go out and stay out. Oh, this headache, the technology. The newer generation's like, what the hell are you talking about? This is amazing. It all makes sense. There's a destiny here. There's religion can inhabit this space too. There's such a good light on the horizon. The boomers are pushing out all this doom and gloom. Everything's apocalyptic. Everything's a destruction. People need to get a job. People need to get a life. This world is going to go on and on and on. That's the most based thing you can ever tell someone. The world's going to keep going on. Humanity will always be here. It always has been. That's the whole point. And life's only going to get better. Man is subduing the Garden of Eden in this age. There's going to be a lot of people in the next 2,000 years. There's going to be a lot of this and that, but time always goes on. Mankind will always be here. There's nothing to be terrified of.
Amen, brother. Guess his sign. He's got a cat. Narco. What's the sign?
His sign, stab in the dark. Capricorn.
No, you
Fuck
can't.
it.
Just embarrassing myself.
Yeah.
You can't base it off of a picture, but Pisces with an Aquarius moon.
There you go.
Nice. Oh, there you
Well,
go. The expert on these
The
matters.
expert. DK,
Yeah.
thanks for
Thank you.
calling in, brother. Stay
Appreciate
safe.
it.
We're going to get the next caller here.
Thank you.
Good questions. Good topic.
All right. So this guy is, he's not a Floridian, but he's a local celebrity. And here is the famous Donut.
Yo, what up?
What's up, dude?
Howdy. What's up, Donut?
I just tuning in. I'm enjoying it. I just started listening.
Shut
I
up.
like everything I heard so far. And
You're the-
I'm a Pisces, so my bar mitzvah was on 3/3.
Bar mitzvah. So, Donut, you're the guy to ask about this. What's the gematria saying about the storm? What's the Illuminati word on the street? Because you are the #1 source for all the Illuminati news
Illuminati news. Thank you.
on the internet.
Well, also Doctor, I really liked your Christopher Columbus
Don't call him doctor. It's not
presentation with the Baruch Hashem signature in the left-hand corner of
Right.
Christopher Columbus's writings, which blew my mind. I didn't know any of that. So that was a fun presentation and how all the fast food is connected to Freemasonry. And looking at these food products and soda products like Mountain Dew, predicting weather events, I feel like
Oh, yeah.
because you're not only ingesting the serpent by drinking like Pepsi or whatever, it's becoming your body. So it's interesting the way that the world works with secret societies, and that's why I look at it. I liked what both of you were talking about with the doom and gloom, how everybody is so narcissistic that everyone thinks that
Oh yeah.
they're the ones that get to go through the doom and gloom. So the rainbow is interesting. The new Squid Games is coming out December 26th, right for Saturnalia. There's a big Saturnalia in connection to the Squid Games, but the poster is a rainbow. So I wonder if there's a covenant kind of symbolism with that. But what I've been looking at is Butler and the financial reset through the symbolism of Butler, where Elon was jumping up and down, showing his belly button. and people got very upset when he raised his hands like this, and I put the stupidest meme together, like of Moloch raising his hands up like a football goal. Okay, so check this out. Yeah, so he's doing that, but if you even get a wider view, it is the pyramid without the chief cornerstone of the pyramidion at the top, which is the pyramid on top of the pyramid. Elon wears the Novus Order Seclorum jacket for the new Order of the Ages that's on the back of the dollar bill. So this is the PayPal mafia, talking about secret societies. This is the PayPal mafia, Elon and Peter Thiel. They both created PayPal. And if you look at that picture right there where he's jumping.
That's the Palantir guy, right? Peter Thiel?
Yes, it's the Palantir guy and the guy who created PayPal. And like all these pictures are so symbolic in the Keystone State. The Keystone is the Royal Arch, the 69, the Cancer at the top. And that is very symbolic for the financial reset, I believe, because this is really the deep state that's in control right now is the tech elite. Like they run
this looks demonic, dude. This guy doesn't even look like Elon.
That it doesn't look up the picture of PayPal, Peter Thiel, and Elon to get a real image of Elon.
Elon's turning into a Harkonnen.
Dude, he says, I'm the dark MAGA. Is that what he said? What?
He says, I'm the dark MAGA.
He's Darth MAGA. Chubby
Look at him.
biatch.
He looks demonic.
And I'm not hating. Okay, so somebody just said this. Donut been hating on Trump, right? I have not.
Don't read the comments, bro.
But this is what's interesting about
their they ain't tipping, we ain't lipping.
Yeah,
right?
Well, the thing is that I've never put any hate out there. They're getting upset because I'm attacking their Lord and Savior Elon. El is the God. And even before he went to Butler, he put a poster up saying, in Musk we trust, in God we trust. They put in Musk we trust because these are the gods. Elon is portraying. I didn't watch it, and I forget that America is entering the battle because I'm so disconnected from the collective group conscience of the feminine mind of social media. I've been trying to step back, so I haven't been posting in a while because I'm trying to step away from being a slave to the masses of the chat room.
So, Narco, this is a question for you, bro. Do you think that social media, because social media is meant to invoke this like feeling, aren't Pisces very emotional? Did I get that right?
Yeah, all the water signs are emotional, but the Pisces tend to be escapists, escapism, dependency issues, whether it's depending on people or getting involved with substances. Pisces are prone to kind of losing themselves in something, and escapism would kind of be the main thread because they rule fantasy. Neptune rules fantasy, and psychiatry. All the silent P words go back to Neptune and Poseidon. Psychology, psychedelics. It's Poseidon, and Pisces rules that. It rules psychology, psychedelics, financial. The fin of a fish. It's the final sign of the zodiac. The finish line. The fin, official business, right? Fiscal year, all about the fish. Pisces are prone to. It's hard to sum up. They're the hardest sign to describe. It's the last sign of the zodiac. Some people say they encompass all the other signs. But generally, they're too wise for their own good. They're too old for their own good. It's like an old man stuck in a younger body.
You're speaking about my son, dude. My son's a Pisces, and he's just like what you're saying. Like, he's too wise for his little body. He's got so many questions, but he's, like I said, he's also emotional. So that's why I asked, because social media is meant to invoke emotion. You know, it's meant, right? It links into that current C, which is attention.
Oh yeah.
And then you tie it in with what you're saying, the doom and gloom. And, you know, you got a recipe for disaster. What do you got here, Donut?
So here's just some images I've been pulling up, and I'm a Pisces, and I definitely need to ground myself in reality and not get into the escapism. So that's like straight on point. And I don't know what your thoughts are on this symbol, because I'm looking at this not as a Pisces symbol like the two fish. I'm looking at this like the 6-9, because Elon's always tweeting about the 6-9.
He's a Cancer. Elon is.
Oh, he is? Okay, well, there you go. And if you look right here behind him, now people say this is a stretch, and they're going to get very upset. And this is not an attack on any political thing. All I do is look at symbolism, and I see a P and a P right behind him, right here. And this is how big of a conspiracy theorist I am, where I'm looking at the PayPal mafia.
Oh yeah.
Because
PP.
The PP.
Yeah. And this was taking place in the I got a bunch of images. Oh man, I wish I had it in order. I don't think I have it in order, but
look at all those tabs, dude.
I got a lot of
some grass, Donut. Touch some grass, bro.
Cut some grass. Oh,
touch some grass.
So right here, you can see this is the event, and this is in Butler, Pennsylvania. You can see the pyramid missing the chief cornerstone at the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Eye of Providence on the dollar, where it says Novus Ordo Seclorum. Yeah. PayPal is the digital currency. X.com is the digital currency. We saw symbolically how this is important for what's coming up. Here's the RNC, which took place right after the 713 event. And here is that capstone symbolically, which is that 69.
Yes.
At the top.
Very good.
With the eye. It's not a cornerstone. This says the chief cornerstone, but the cornerstone, the chief cornerstone is the pyramidion. The pyramid on top of the pyramid. As you can see, this is the pyramid, and this is the pyramid on top of the pyramid. And we can see here's the pyramid in the keystone state called Butler.
Right.
This in Musk We Trust. They put this up before he spoke there. And so I think that this is getting into symbolically the new currency system. That's what I think it is.
Sure.
And that's what I've been working on. So I haven't looked at the storm at all, really.
The hurricane.
Yeah.
that's all right. You know about speaking of Cancer and Musk going Republican, the word conservative comes from Cancer. Considerate. These are all Cancer traits. Considerate, consistent, consoling, constant. Cancer, to sing, cantador, right? Cancer is where we get conservative. And liberal we get from Libra. Right? So you have the right-hand path and the left-hand path. Cancer is ruled by the moon, but Jupiter exalts the planet of good. Well, in Libra, Saturn exalts the planet of bad. Now, we get the political party animals from the zodiac signs they're affiliated with. Conservative, Cancer, Jupiter's exalting in that sign. Hence, the elephant. Elevate. It's lifting. It's less dense. That's Jupiter. It's the elevating spirit.
Mm-hmm. And can I add one thing with Elon? Elon means oak tree. If you look it up in the Hebrew, it means oak tree. And oak tree was the symbol for Jupiter, I believe.
Yes. Ooh. Yeah, Uko, oak. Okay, everything's okay.
Okay, that's the okay
Yeah.
sign. Okay, yeah.
OKC, Oklahoma Thunder,
Yeah.
Thunder God. Yep. Elon. Oh, that's interesting. Oak tree.
Yeah, that is interesting. Masculine, Jewish surname.
Also, but the donkey comes from Libra, Saturn. It's the stunted horse, the down key, dawn key, the low key, the bass, low vibration.
Donkeys are
key.
sterile too, right?
Ask your mom.
The ass.
There's the joke. There's the mom joke of the night.
The ass is the
everybody.
lower chakra.
Yeah.
That sack.
Yeah.
Well, Donut, bro, thanks for coming in, blowing our minds with all this symbolism.
Thank you.
Stay safe, dude. I know you're not in the storm. Say hi to Chan for me. And thanks for calling in, dude.
Thanks, Donut.
Love y'all.
Later, dude. Love you too.
Peace.
All right.
Elon sucks. He's a chubby loser.
He's a chode.
All of his inventions were, I don't think he has any inventions actually, but he's credited with so much stuff. The government holds his hand through everything he does. Practically all his companies are subsidized, and it's all he's a wing of the federal government, whether he says it or not.
Yeah, those pictures were pretty disturbing. I'm the dark MAGA, the dark magician. MAGA means, or the dark witch, because MAGA means witch in Latin. But let's take a couple more callers here. We got Keith K. Keith, is that a BMW? What are you working on there, dude?
Hey, what's up? What's up? It's a 86 535.
Nice.
Hi.
Where are you calling from?
Yeah. I'm your neighbor. I'm in Celebration.
Nice.
So I'm right up the
Finally
road.
local.
Yeah, that's why I figured I'd call in, because I was like, well, Colorado, like, is he sleeping?
So
no, he's cool. He had some good stuff to add.
this is how unbothered you are that you're working on your car, hanging out. What do you think of this storm, dude?
Well, actually, no. So it doesn't run, and I need to get my wife's car in here, so I got to move it, and I got other shit I got to move. So yeah, so I'm trying to get my wife's car in here, but I do have another BMW too. It's a
Nice.
R75 bike.
Oh,
But yeah, so yeah, I'm pretty concerned because it's been raining the past 2 days. If you drive around, you look at the all the retention ponds are already full.
yeah.
So that's really bad. And if you want to compare it to Asheville, they got rain steady for 2 days before the hurricane hit. And I don't know, is that a coincidence? Maybe not. Were they preparing for that devastation? Probably. That would be my guess.
It already feels like a hurricane here. It felt like it yesterday. It's weird. Like
Yeah.
3-4 days.
Yeah, and
out.
you seen the rain maps where it's like the entire country is dry and just all Florida is covered in rain with this giant anomalous hurricane spinning up, going from tropical storm to a Category 5 in like a day. Yeah, so sketchy.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the Kissimmee area. I mean, you got to understand that all of Florida is a swamp, right? I mean, that's just the reality of it. So it's already wet, but yeah, the ground is very soggy, and I know that the Kissimmee area does tend to flood quite a bit. So that is one of my concerns, and yeah, I don't know how I see this playing out, but you're gonna hunker down at your house. You're not going anywhere.
No, we're staying right here. But speaking of swamp, right behind my house is like 200 acres of just like untouched swampland, which is actually kind of good because that's where all the water is going to drain to. So as long as that 200 plus acres doesn't overflow, we should be pretty good. And they did a pretty good job building this neighborhood. Everything is pretty well elevated. All the houses are on mounds. Like the whole neighborhood section is on a mound. The house is on a mound. And then the house itself is on a slab, like maybe 2.5 feet tall. So should be good. Just trying to batten everything down and just wait it out.
And I think if anything, right, if you look at a place like Miami that doesn't have any greenery, I mean, even Miami floods like crazy. I mean, you know this, Narco. I mean, you're down in South Florida. And how you're saying about this 200 acres, it feels like a lot of these major companies come here, they get all these low interest loans, and they just overdevelop Florida. And I'm not saying, I don't want to be mean when I say this next part, but hopefully with these storms, it pushes some people out to go, maybe the Florida life ain't for me. You know, I got like my neighbors are from Pennsylvania. They're great people and they're scared shitless. And I'm like, hey, welcome to Florida, baby. Right. I mean, that's the initiation. Like this is it. Like this is part of being here. And I think it takes a special kind of person. I was kidding around today that the stress from a hurricane is what forms this Florida man archetype, right? Is what kind of runs everybody right now. New Florida men are being carved, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was here for Ian, so same spot, and I mean it was bad, but I mean like our neighborhood was fine, but lots of places around got wiped out.
Yeah, Ian wasn't too
yeah,
bad.
No, Ian wasn't too bad. I mean, I only moved here in late 2019, so I'm a somewhat
California
recent
or what?
transplant. No, Pennsylvania, like you just mentioned, but from Philly and then Baltimore. So I've been in some spots. But yeah, it's been great, and it was pre-COVID, so I kind of have that under my belt. But it's been great. We love it. Yeah, but at least we're not on the coast. We're kind of in an area where people flee to. But I can't even imagine being on it. My manager at work, his parents are in Sarasota, and I think they're like 8 or 10 feet above sea level. And we'll see how it goes with the storm surge.
Right.
But they already got out. They're further inland in a really like a guy they know his house is pretty, cement block and pretty well built. So they're out of there. But yeah, that's gonna be tough, especially with the devastation from Helene. And Spencer, watching his videos and all the debris and everything that's just littering all the streets everywhere. It's just going to be massive projectiles flying.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a good situation. So hopefully the majority of people are getting out of there.
Can I ask you who you got, Trump or Kamala?
Obviously not Kamala. But yeah, I don't know. I have my reservations about Trump. I mean, I've never been super into politics. I've always been a follower of it. Actually, I've never even voted in a presidential election, or I'll probably get into local politics here soon, 'cause that's pretty important. But yeah, I mean, I've always really felt like it's two heads of the same monster. And can never put your faith in one person. But there is a lot of good things, but is that smokescreen with Trump? Who knows? It's kind of tough to tell. But I'd say I'm on board more than not.
Sure, good points. Just about the two sides of the same coin. I always hear people say that. And my message to anybody out there would be, isn't that how our brain works? Or are we going to throw our brain out because it's two sides of the same coin? That's a natural function. The issue is the 20-foot long tapeworm that's sucking all the nutrients out of the brain. That's the issue. You don't have to worry about the two halves of the political parties. It's the parasitic influence on both of them that is causing the issue.
Right. Obviously, the deep state is driving flying the plane, and you don't just blow up the plane because a hijacker took it over. I mean, our system was put together as really robust and strong, and it's unique in the world. So we definitely need to save it. I'm not a doomer who wants it all to end and rebuild something new, because that never works.
Well, here, I didn't ask you for no reason. The second part of that would be, can you see that maybe they're sending these disasters to swing states, red-leaning swing states, battleground states, maybe not swing state, but red-leaning battleground states like Florida, North Carolina? Do you think with only a month to go, there could be plans on preventing millions of people from getting to the polls
Oof.
with a weather event.
Oof.
Yeah, they're kind of already bragging about. I feel what's someone on the left is a politician. He's bragging the fact that they are stunting the efforts to aid the people in the Carolinas just so that they won't have a chance to vote.
Right.
And I would definitely see that would probably happen here too, depending on how bad it is. But yeah, that's a strategy. Is this like the full October surprise? I don't know. We still have time left. There could be other things happening, but yeah, it's definitely suspicious that I think these storms are obviously steered in these directions and manipulated for that purpose to cause the devastation. And they kind of need things to happen to point to. They need these. Never let a good crisis go to waste. What better if you can actually create the crisis yourself and just use that full spectrum dominance and Hegelian dialectic to keep all that stuff going. But yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think Trump is obviously in the forerunning. Kamala is just total garbage nonsense.
Right.
It's just ridiculous that anyone can even be actually paying attention and support her. She brings like nothing to the table. But yeah, I think that they're just doing what they can to shake things up. And Florida and those Carolinas, I think, what do they hit? 24 of 26 red counties in those Carolina states.
Good point.
And
Well, here,
then
let me
Tampa
ask you.
area. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, do you have I forgot to ask. I forgot what I was going to say. Do you have a family? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah. I've got a wife and son here with me. My son's 2.5, almost 3.
Tremendous. You got a good
Yeah.
head on your shoulders. God bless.
Yes, thank you.
Good job. We need more. Favorite caller of the night. We need more level-headed men out here.
Want to guess?
Yeah.
Want to guess the sign, Narco?
Oh, I don't know. He's very practical. Virgo.
Fuck,
Pisces.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pisces is hard.
Man, you're striking out tonight.
Yeah, dude. He's sucking
No.
major dicks tonight on that,
Juan.
dude.
Hey, oh yeah, Juan, you guess a zodiac sign. We'll be here.
I don't even know.
2,000 years.
I don't even know my ABCs, bro. So, but listen, Keith, check this out, Narco. Keith K. Got a KK in there.
Illuminati confirmed.
Bro.
KJC.
Thanks
or KGC.
Thanks for calling in, dude. Stay safe.
Yeah, of course.
Throughout this
You
storm.
too, likewise.
And yeah, dude.
Thank
Later,
you, man.
Keith.
Thanks for calling in.
Talk to you
Keith.
again.
Stay
Take it
safe
easy.
through this one.
Thank you. On to the next one.
Later, dude.
Peace.
Yeah, and like I said, everyone, try and stay safe during the storm. It's not something to joke about. If you are in the mandatory evacuation, I know some people have been bragging online about sticking it through. Don't be a fucking idiot. Get out if you can. Do the most you can to get out and go inland or go somewhere else. But yeah, stay safe during this storm. As we pull up to the top of the hour here, I want to take one last caller, Narco.
Yeah, let's hit the 3-hour mark.
Let's do this. Here we go.
Please be a female.
Female? I don't see any females here.
Could be anything, Jesus, for fucking.
Yo, PK, turn your alarm off, dude.
If you're not female, you better act female.
Yeah. Yo, PK, you with us?
Definitely female.
Yo, what's up, guys?
My bad.
Yo, somebody stealing a car in the
Can
back
y'all
there or
hear
what?
me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm in
man, I'm doing a
Wakanda right
little
now.
beard trimming over here.
We got the. Hang on, I'm in Wakanda right now. We got the ceiling chirping. We got someone breaking into a car outside.
Oh, that's you, Narco?
Sorry.
I thought it was him, bro.
Yeah, no, Joe, that's me.
No, I
What's up,
did. I
PK?
did
Where
drop
you calling
scissors. Yeah. I am in Tallahassee.
Nice.
So, the hurricane here. I was watching it the whole night, and it was crazy. We lucked out like so hard that the like huge red wall area of the hurricane basically like did a you know how it spins, so we got like the easy part of the spin, and then the spin went all kind of, the big wall was all like northeast of us, so we really lucked out with the hurricane here. Like not even that far from here got, you know, completely shitted on.
Yeah, because Helene was gonna hit Tallahassee first, wasn't it? It was like headed directly to or was that Panama City?
Oh my god, up until it basically got here, they had it pinpoint dead center going over Tallahassee until it got here, then it like veered off east.
So hopefully that happens with Milton, maybe. I mean, I don't want it to hit anywhere, but
right,
you know, it's pretty scary. What do you are you guys gonna get affected at all here in
so
Tallahassee?
someone did mention I know, so I've, you know, I lived in North and South Carolina, and like I've been through in here Florida a long time, so like I've been through a bunch of hurricanes. I think it's still like too early to know exactly where it's going to go. So it says right now it's not coming here, but I think it could come here just as well as it could go to Tampa, you know. I think it's still a little early, but so yeah, hopefully. I know one of the callers said, like, why don't they just steer it away or whatever, but there is possibly like an economic reason here too. I mean, natural disasters like war are really good for business, you know, just throwing it out there.
The white man been cooking up them storms forever, bro. The white man be pumping out. They know we buying up all
Right?
the toilet papers.
Yeah, making little forts out of it.
And
go ahead, Big Guy.
And any comments on that?
I want to say one thing about King Mountain. Y'all know Karen B, right?
Kang Mountain? Uh-oh.
About King Mountain. You guys know Karen B, right?
No.
What's that?
Okay. Well, Karen B is like she's the lady that puts on like Flattoberfest.
Okay.
So anyway, she did a show this morning. She lives in South Carolina, like kind of close to the border of North Carolina where Kings Mountain is. And she actually like drove there and filmed, and the town was like okay. So the town was okay. She even drove up to the entrance of Kings Mountain and got to like where the gate said do not enter or whatever. And basically what I'm trying to say is that from her like little recon, that Kings Mountain in that town wasn't hit. And she made a good point that it's like they already own Kings Mountain. Like the people mining the lithium and shit, they already own it. So it's like they don't need to like destroy it, because then they'd be like destroying their own operation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But essentially it didn't get hit. So it's kind of weird if what she's telling the truth, which I think she is. I don't think she has any reason not to. You know, it's kind of weird that people keep like propagating this. You know, if it's false, you know, it's kind of weird.
Well, that's the
Y'all
whole
feel
thing I've
me?
always said about it. Like, where if they are making these storms to destroy their own thing, but let's say that this huge company owns that whole mountain and the operation and everything, right? That's closed indefinitely. I mean, then if they had interest in other countries where they could source this lithium from or whatever, and they can line their pockets at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a double-edged sword with that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And one more thing about the controlling the weather. I feel like we shouldn't give, I know weather modification is like a thing. I know there's like patents and plenty of like papers and shit. Like, you know, it's claimed to that they do it and stuff. But, you know, in a sense, like when we say they control the weather, we're like kind of calling them gods. If you like really think about it.
With a little
and
G.
I feel like it's important that we don't give them too much power. Go ahead, Narga.
No, you're dead on the money. I agree. Only God is the author of nature. Only God gets to tell Mother Nature what to do. These people are trying to bounce around. What they're doing is closer to like tossing a beach ball around at a concert rather than birthing storms and sending them exactly where they want to. It's hurricane season. Hurricanes come. Hate to break it to some of these conspiracy,
Right.
up all night paranoid type people, but yeah, Mother Nature is generating a majority of all the hurricanes. These two are suspect. I'll concede, and that's what we're talking about. But in general, I'm in agreement with
Right.
you 100% that people
So you
erase
got
God.
two things. Mhm. You got two things here of like, okay, how much can they control it? Like, okay, first off, can they even create the storm? I don't think they can create it. So then it's like, okay, how much can they steer it? And then they have to steer it though without being detected. So think about that. How are they doing it? Are they doing some frequency, wouldn't some like radar or something like pick it up? So they'd have to do it without anyone knowing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the like second thing. How the hell are they doing it? And then I forget there was a third thing. I'll think about it in a second.
Well, I have seen some anomalous blips on the radar where you
Dude,
see these streaks
on.
going across. I've seen some trippy shit. I think they
Oh,
can.
yeah?
That's like
hit-
people who find shit on Google Earth. Look at the
No,
remnants.
no, no,
Look at
no,
this
no.
dragon.
No, no,
Look
no.
at this dragon.
No, I've seen storm. I've seen storm. Maps. What would you call it? Like real-time weather maps. This is different. Spencer's shown some solid evidence of this. You see like laser beams going across the radar. I've seen it. So I see both sides, but I'm typically team Mother Nature, God, storms. Most people have no connection with God, so they can't fathom.
It's kind of funny. Mhm.
Go ahead.
It's
He's lagging out.
Sorry,
Go
I'm
ahead,
getting
Pierre.
a delay. So it's kind of funny. There's a mag lab here that is like the biggest magnet in the world of type of something. And they like used to always tweet because hurricanes would like always miss Tallahassee. They used to just joke like, oh, we did it again. Like they're doing something over there. I don't necessarily think they are, but it's kind of funny. And just to think about how it's done, right? If it's like frequency or, I don't even know how they would do it.
Well, PK, thanks for calling in, bro. Stay safe. And also, I did get a DM from Spencer. He said I invited him on. He said, I wish, bro, running a skid steer and dump trailer for emergency debris for the county on the coast till 6 a.m. Doing my part, let it rip. So shout out to Spencer for doing God's work. He's a great man, helping people out. But PK, stay safe during this storm if you do get
Yeah,
something
thanks, y'all.
or not. And thanks for calling in, brother.
All right, be safe out there.
You too.
Have a good night, man.
I wanna bring one more person on. He says he's in St. Pete. So he says he's in St. Pete.
I
We'll
gotta
take
get
him.
going after this one.
Yeah, we'll get going after this one. Here is Quest Beyond.
Yo.
You're on the air, dude.
Hey, fellas. How you guys doing?
What's up, bro?
Yeah, I'm here in St. Petersburg right now. I'm in an evacuation zone right now. I'll probably leave tomorrow morning.
Smart move. Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you were gonna leave or not, because my brother-in-law actually is leaving tomorrow from St. Pete as well. He's going up to Jacksonville to wait the storm out, and hopefully it doesn't cut through and hit up through Jacksonville as well, because I mean it could go up the center of the state at this point. But what are your thoughts on this whole thing, dude?
It had everybody sketched out. Just driving around the last day and a half, like it was like pandemonium. We were pretty devastated from the last storm. The storm surge here wrecked everything. There was the beaches from one side to the other is just destroyed. I've been here over 25 years and never seen anything like it.
Wow.
Yikes.
What do you think? Manipulation or organic, natural?
No, it's definitely not normal.
Okay.
Yeah, my take is that this stuff is definitely a manipulation. I didn't even like this last storm just brewing up out of nowhere with all that weather just out in the Gulf. And then all of a sudden it just became the greatest storm we've ever fucking seen.
Right.
You know? So it's one of those things of like, it's kind of almost too obvious. And if you try to talk about it with people, you know, you got to pull out your tinfoil hat.
Sure. What do you think about the politics? Do you think this is having to do more with the election, or is it more of a element like mineral heist with the quartz and lithium, or just a land grab? What do you think?
I mean, I
Something
think it's a
else.
free for all. They'll take advantage of it, you know. They'll, in air quotes, uh, they. I believe it is more about maybe stalling the election, you know, or actually
Okay.
just like hijacking not having one. You know, there's too much going on. There may be too much crisis. I mean, now that Florida even has its National Guard in North Carolina, and
Good point.
we're about to get crushed here. I mean, somewhere in Florida. I'm here in St. Pete, and we haven't been hit head on, and I still want to believe we're not going to. My mom is old school and is like winging it right now, and
Yikes.
I can't even get her out of the house if I showed up. She's got 6 cats, and my nephew, she has some family from Cuba that just came here recently. So they're all like holed up together, and they're like, you know what, we're going to make it. It's just going to be one day. But, you know, the news has pumped everybody full of fear. The way that the storm intensified has everybody really scared just because they're traumatized. Just here in my apartment complex that is in an evacuation zone, there was about 20 cars towed because they were all totaled. There, I mean, water almost got into my apartment during the last storm.
Oh wow.
Damn. Well, Quest, stay safe, bro. Try and get your mom out too if you can. And see you on the other side, bro.
I've got room in my place. If just kidding, I'm only teasing. God.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna be all right. You know, I'll connect with you guys afterwards just to let you know it's okay. But yeah, I appreciate you guys connecting and just giving me a moment to speak, because people were here afraid, but we have felt lucky also for a while in this area that like we haven't been hit directly. Like it's almost like people weren't really taking the storm seriously until maybe just yesterday or today.
Well, dude, I appreciate you calling in. Stay safe. And yeah, we'll report back. We should do a follow-up stream, Longo.
Yes, we
for the
will.
aftermath. We
Oh,
have power.
definitely.
Yeah, I'll catch back up with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Quest.
You
Take
have
it
a good
easy,
night.
brother.
Stay safe.
Sir. Appreciate you.
From Ground Zero, and there's a Milton, Florida.
Yes.
It would be funny if Milton hit Milton, Florida. I mean, it wouldn't be funny, but it would be ironic, right?
Well,
If it was.
where did Helene go through? Didn't Helene touch near there?
I thought it came in through here. So
Yeah, was it farther east?
yeah, through right here. So it came in through here in the old panhandle there, the curve. I forgot what they call it. They call it something else. But
My mom's old Longo, but she's probably down. Somebody said.
Longo, 3-hour stream
Yeah, man.
on what's today? Monday? Tuesday. Fuck.
Yes.
Well, it's Tuesday now, it's 12, but this is fun, man. What are your final thoughts? You want to leave the people with before we get out of here?
Just Mother Nature does her thing. Be okay with it. Humans can kind of try and tamper with it, but ultimately, a hurricane is like a detox. It's like a colonic. It's like a flush. So I go down, certain streets growing up. There's canals all over Florida. a lot of the canals are nasty, stagnant,
Yeah.
nasty, just like a layer on top, shopping carts, fucking all this just junk.
Dildos and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
just
that kind of
to
shit.
say the least. Well, right after a hurricane, I'll go walking down some of these canals that I've been walking down right before a storm, and it was disgusting. Right after a hurricane, you see the canals in the best shape they'll ever be in Florida. Not right after, not like right after, you know, there'll be some disturbance, but in the week, maybe a week after, you look at the canals, not all of them, but where I grew up, it's like a maid spent. You know, it's like Mother Nature hired a maid for the day and cleaned up all the junk and flushed all the stagnant water. It's like a lymphatic massage, like lymphatic drainage. Like, so it's Mother Nature doing its thing, doing her thing, regardless of what the Illuminati wants to do. Be safe, everyone. Don't do anything too bold. But it's got to land somewhere. Better us, better here, a first world country, than
Yeah.
some other, you know.
Absolutely. And yeah, dude, same. Everyone stay safe. Love each other, be good. And I'll be praying for everybody out there. And if you're in the if you're in the evacuation zone, make sure to get the fuck out and go inland, go up north, do whatever. Stay safe. Love you all. And hopefully we'll see you on the other side. God bless you all. Later.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
311.
311.
311 on the time mark.
Bye.
Illuminati confirmed. KGC.